tried to free your mind, Neo, but I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it. You have to let it all go, Neo. Fear, doubt, and disbelief. Free your mind.
This is the Mind is Mine podcast. What it do, ladies and gentlemen? Episode 9 with my boy Cyrus here. Peace. I hope everybody is having a blessed day. Peace and blessings to everybody. Cyrus, how you doing, my man?
I'm great, man. I'm blessed, honored to be here. That was a tough intro.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I took a little Alchemist beat and put the Matrix over it. So yeah. Two perfect creations together. So, but how's your day today, man? I want to get straight to it. I want to give you the floor, kind of introduce yourself. What all do you do, and what brings you into my space here?
All right. Well, my day was good. Drunk some tea today. Did a little bit of journaling in preparation for my 90-day realignment. We can get to that later. But see, I got some juice here. This is pineapple and apple. So I sell cold pressed juices as well as seamoss and some herbs here and there. It's kind of a second income for me, but I would love for it to be my first source of income because this is really what I'm passionate about, holistic health. So seeing your being as mind, body, and soul. And it's kind of like a tripod, how I explain it, to where, we're the camera on top of the tripod. And if one of those things, if it's your mind, the camera falls. If it's your spirit, the camera falls. So you need all three so that you are stable. So that's kind of what holistic healing is, seeing it as a whole and how all those things impact us on a day-to-day basis. So that's my interest that I'm into now, in helping people be more aware and healthier so that they can do what they're meant to do here.
Facts. Health is wealth, honestly.
For real.
And I don't think, especially here in the Western society, most specifically America, do we truly understand the impact of good health, especially towards our day-to-day life, especially on top of that, our spirituality as well, which many people can argue that, America as a whole, year by year, I feel like we're getting less in touch with our spiritual nature.
Yeah.
And in turn, we are also getting less in touch with our health as well, in our diet. So what is health to you would say? Describe health, not only however you think it and how you perceive it, but also how you experienced health, good and bad.
Okay. Health to me it's a certain mindset that you have. So it's not just physical, it's mental as well. Because I could speak on the health. I could say you can eat the herbs and all that. But then if you're a negative person, the herbs or the good healing might not help you. And a lot of arguments that people make as far as eating healthy, like when I say go plant-based, they be like, my ancestors, they ate beef and pork and all that, and they lived to 100 years old and all that. But what was the things that they were doing, or the type of things they were doing on a daily day? Like my grandma, not my grandma, but someone's grandma might have had a garden, or they might have been happy cooking every day with somebody because they loved providing food to them. So were they in the good mindset while they were eating all these things? So health isn't just one thing. It's a totality of all these things. But for me, health is mental stability, having your head on straight. Because for me, one of the most potent things that I experienced with eating better was my mental clarity. It's real easy for me, still is easy for me to overthink on things. But whenever I eat really light, or especially if I'm on the juice, my mental clarity is like, there's
insane.
Crazy.
For sure.
So but it's also the density. Like when you're eating the meats and all that, those are very, very dense. So your thoughts are going to be lower just because of you are what you eat. So the lighter you are, the more clearer and happy you'll be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing that I realized too, because I've eaten animals and I continue to do so as of now. And I'm always open to, drop that and learn something new and integrate something new into my diet. But one thing I've noticed is that, especially depending on what the animals have eaten and what's in the meat, what's in, the system of the animal at the time that it died, is something that's very, very important as well. And also, a lot of Eastern cultures really pay attention to. Hinduism doesn't eat beef at all because cow in general, they express the same type of emotions as humans do.
Right.
Those are one of the animals that has the closest identical emotional spectrums closer to humans than any other animal.
Right.
So they express the same type of emotions when they're going through death and the same things that we do as well. So not only are we taking in, the physical properties and what they have eaten and maybe even diseases as well, but we're also taking in the emotions that they went through during their death as well.
Right.
And that integrates within our emotional spectrum, which a lot of people don't want to believe. But one thing I will say is pay attention to your emotions, your thoughts, and how you feel after you eat something. Because a lot of people just definitely go straight into eating it and just want to satisfy one part of themselves, which 9 times out of 10 is their stomach, and even their taste buds in a way. I'm guilty of it. I fell into that hole before. I didn't really grow up in the best. I didn't really grow up in the healthiest family with the healthiest diet.
Right.
But where I'm at now is light years better than where I was, but I can always get better.
Right.
So what kind of diet are you on right now, would you say?
Right now, fully plant-based, but I kind of take it a step further. So I don't eat like white rice or like white flour, stuff like that.
Makes sense.
I'll substitute white rice for like black rice or wild rice, or white flour for spelt flour or alkaline flours. So I'm really strict. Or sometimes I don't eat nuts unless they're soaked, because like cashews.
Yeah, I heard
isn't a nut.
Nuts are
Yeah, it's way
fine.
better. So, because nuts are still like plants, so they have certain properties in them to where if you eat them, they don't want to be like digested. So they can mess up your digestion. So if you soak them first, then it gets rid of all of that. So that's good for like your gut and all that.
Okay.
But right now, I'm gonna do just raw. So no cooked foods, just salads, fruits, and juice, really, and teas and seamoss.
Nice.
So that's what my 90-day alignment is. Just no cooked foods, because it's easier on my digestion. And I notice when I am on the raw, like my skin looks better. I'm more in tune with what's going on around me, and I just feel a lot better. And I'm able to navigate in a way to where I'm not like guessing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I'll have certain feelings or certain intuitive thoughts, and I won't act on them. But when I'm eating a certain way, I'm like, oh no, I know that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And I just do it. So I want to be like that all the time.
That's facts. The amount of clarity that I get for just doing, a juice fast or just not eating anything at all is insane. Like I never really experienced anything like that. And I've always been taught, eat 3 meals a day and, make sure you eat enough because you got to get all that nutrients and everything. But also I have to pay attention to the foods that I'm eating. And a lot of the foods I was eating growing up was processed foods, which were nuked in terms of nutrients at all. It barely had any nutrients at all. If anything, like I said earlier, it was only to satisfy the taste buds in the stomach.
Right.
Which if we get caught into, that cycle of eating foods just for pleasure, is going to bite us in the ass later on in life.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel that, especially here in America, we have so much health issues because we're not eating the right foods at all, and we're not nearly educated enough on the right foods.
Yeah. I think we only live to like 78, and there's people that are living to like 120 other places. Like, so like if you're 40, you're middle aged in America. That's crazy. But there's people in Japan and the Middle East that are 90 years old running marathons. There's people in America that when they hit the 50s, 60s, they're like, no exercise, no nothing, just working on the couch. So it's our mindset, but the food really is what impacts us the most. So we really need to take care of that. And what you said about when you were eating, your food didn't have a lot of nutrients. That's why we eat so much. Like chips, you could eat like a whole bag of chips and you won't be full. But if it had nutrients in it, you wouldn't need to eat as much. So like you said, you need the three meals a day. Well, why do you need 3 meals a day? Because it has no nutrients in it. Well, why not just eat 1 or 2 meals that are packed full of nutrients? I won't have to eat as much because it's not the food itself that nourishes you. It's the nutrients within them. Yeah. That's why you can go a year on just juice because of the nutrients. It's not really the food, it's what's inside of it that really nourishes you.
Facts. And I'm very blessed that you got me on the seamoss finally. I've always known about seamoss and its benefits. Before I go any deeper, I want you to promote your brand and the benefits of seamoss and the benefits of juicing as well, because I may be able to learn something that I haven't as well. So
give thanks.
Take as long as you need to promote what you do and also the benefits behind what you do.
Okay. Well, the name of my business is 3 Pillar Conscious, and you spell 3 THR 333 instead of E's.
That's dope.
Yeah, so 3 Pillar Conscious, because in the conscious community, say like we're woke, we're conscious, but like what are we conscious of? Because everyone's conscious. Not everyone is conscious of their consciousness. So I wanted to be more specific. So 3 pillars, like I said, with the tripod example, mind, body, and your soul.
You know what's crazy, bro? What? That's insane that you bring that up, because one of the things I want to get into is architecture and the business that I'm building with that, which is still in its infancy. It's not anything crazy right now. I was going to call it 3 pillars.
Hey, because great minds. Hey.
because it was going to be a combination of construction, real estate, and architecture all together. So 3 different pillars.
Trinity.
3, yeah, bro.
Hey.
And also that's still within spirituality, and pillars is 111, which equals 3, and we can get to the numerology later, because when you brought up 33, that's a huge number in spirituality and many different religions. But I'm gonna let you finish though.
No, good. I like that. Like I said, great minds think alike.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the business name. Also, we're gonna have a YouTube. I'm working on that as well. So I'm gonna get into the juices that I got for you. So I got you the Bold Beet and the Apple Delight. So,
I had the beet yesterday. It was phenomenal.
Man, beets, amazing.
Bro, love it.
So that had beets, grapes, and lemons. So what that'll do is it's good for high blood pressure, high blood sugar, anemia for the women. If you have acne, it'll stimulate your liver, because that's what a lot of times why people have acne, because the liver is stagnant. It's good for digestion as well, because you got the lemon in it. And then it cuts the earthiness of the beets, because a lot of people don't like beets. So I tried to counteract that with something sweet so that they could eat it or drink it. And then you got the Apple Delight. So that's honey, pink lady apples, and Honeycrisp apples. So apples are a stool softener, so they can make you run to the toilet. But I put lemons in there so that it's not as harsh on you. Because if you were to just drink straight apples,
I'm already
running to the bathroom. But the lemon kind of like dials it down, and then the honey has the anti-inflammatory benefits. Like I said, the apple is good for your digestion, and then apples are really high in amino acids. So a lot of people talk about like protein, like you need your protein this, protein that, but
yeah, me working at a gym, amino acids and the protein is, that's a huge conversation point.
Right. But if you ask somebody what is protein, they're like, I don't know. But a protein is just a whole bunch of amino acids together. So why not just focus on what makes the protein instead of protein? Because it's kind of like secondhand. So that's what the apple delight is good for as well.
Okay.
But I also have cucumber juice. I do watermelon juice, and then I have my Grand Rising juice, which is kind of what this is.
Okay.
So they each have their own different benefits, and then the seamoss. So seamoss is like, it has a ton of minerals. So to just categorize it as one benefit or like it's just good for this one thing is like not the right thing to do, because each mineral has their own benefit. So it's good in iodine. Iodine is good for your thyroid. Your thyroid is good for like your metabolism and your hormones. And it also has iron. Iron is good for blood flow. Also magnesium. If you want to build muscle, or if you have sore muscles, like after a workout and all that, that's good for magnesium. Or sleep. Zinc, good for prostate in men, also good for the women. So it's 100 different benefits for sea moss. And then you have the gold sea moss, and then you have the purple sea moss. The purple sea moss.
You were hyping up the purple sea moss, something crazy.
If you feel the golden one, I'm telling you that purple is crazy, because colors have benefits. So we got the golden one. It has all those benefits I just named. But then the purple has purple, red, blue, and all that. So you got the purple, that's antioxidant. Green, high in chlorophyll. So that's iron and magnesium. So it's like the big brother to the the golden sea moss. So the purple is that for real.
Okay.
And then I do herbs as well, but not all the time. But a lot of my herbs that I sell are from St. Lucia. So caseolata, that's good for liver. Got blue vervain, good for sleep and your nervous system. Animal root, which is more like a mucus and lymphatic system cleansing and all that. So I don't do I know more herbs outside of America than I do in America, because they're way more potent, especially in St. Lucia, where I get them from, where no pollution. The people that grow them are like high vibrational people. So they're putting a lot of love into what they do. They actually care. So it was good for me to go out there and interact with these people, because I've been shopping with them for years, but to actually see them and see how they grow things and just how they are, I have much more of appreciation for the product that I get from them. So that's my business, and we're growing.
There you go. Hey, congrats. I like what we're doing here. I love it. I love that you are being a foot soldier in terms of teaching people the importance of health. Like I said earlier, here in America, we're not nearly educated enough on what makes good health. I know with me working in the gym, here's an interesting statistic for you. Only 18% of people that have a gym membership actually go to get in the gym.
18%.
Only 18% of people that have a gym membership go to work out, actually, and use it and utilize it.
That's crazy. So people just buying it and not using it.
Right.
Wasting money.
Right. And, gyms, being in the gym industry for a little bit, at Club Fitness for some time and then taking some time off and actually coming back at the edge, it really showed me how people will buy it for the deals, especially in the beginning of the year, the New Year's resolutions, everything, which I think at this point is kind of bullshit now.
Is it the new year though?
Yeah. That's facts. Is that the real calendar year? That's a conversation for another time though. Well, later on, I guess you would say. But yeah, I've noticed how people can just buy it, come in for maybe a month, and then easily fall back into their ways. And for me, working out has always been an integral part of my life, but diet has been something that I struggle with because I didn't grow up with the best diet. So in terms of athletes, and you're an athlete as well. So before I get to the question I was going to say, what got you into holistic care? Okay. And was that an integral part of your life when you were growing up? Because you played basketball in high school. How long have you been playing basketball?
Since I was 4.
Since you were 4?
Yeah.
Got you.
So a long time.
So what was your diet looking like back then when actually playing basketball? Because you played for Sean, and that was, that's high quality basketball for sure.
Man, My diet back in the day was horrible, like straight horrible. Like I have a very fast metabolism. I'll probably eat like 4 times a day. Like I'm the type of person that once I eat and I get full, I'm hungry like 30 minutes later.
Yeah.
So when I was little, I would eat all the time. My go-to when I was little was a turkey sandwich with some ramen noodles, some shrimp flavored ramen noodles. That was like I was straight on that. But
I never had ramen noodles before.
Never
had ramen noodles.
Good, but you're good.
It just doesn't look appealing at all.
Man, that taste when you add some hot sauce and the seasoning pack or some soy sauce with it, I'm good. That in a sandwich. Like I'm simple. I don't need a lot of stuff. But as I got older, I got into like the McDonald's. So at Vashon, we always used to get, well, not always, but a lot of times we would get McDonald's after a game. My order at McDonald's was 3 McChickens, 3 cheeseburgers, a small fry, and a drink. And I'm bashing. And that's light. Like,
yeah,
that's enough to feed 3 people. But that's just how much energy I spend. But then I need all that back. Cause like I said, my metabolism is fast. Like, it's very hard for me to gain weight. So I need to eat a lot. So that was growing up. But now, like I said, I'm plant-based. But what got me into plant-based eating and holistic health was during the pandemic, one of my pawpaw, he had passed due to the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just like, it's got to be a way that we can like protect ourselves from diseases. Like, I just know it. Like something in me was just like, there's no way we should be dying.
Man, bro, my family kept getting COVID even after they got the vaccine and everything. And I'm like, bro, I didn't get it once.
Yeah,
I didn't get sick at all. Mm. And this was around my time where like I'm actually getting into spirituality and my health is improving, and like randomly, like my body just told me to fast and just not eat anything at all, because I had an abundance of fruits. And then it was just like one day I just started like eating significantly less. And that's when like passively I was fasting unconsciously, right. I guess you would say.
Yeah.
But continue, my bad.
No, you're good. So I was like, yeah, it's got to be a way. Like, it's just got to. I just know it's a way that we can protect ourselves from diseases. And I swear, like a week or 2 later, if that, I'm scrolling on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, and I see a Dr. Sebi video. He talking about how he healed different diseases, and I'm like, this is what I asked for. So I watched that video, and I swear I'm watching videos all day long. Like, I'm not working out no more. I'm not doing homework. Like, I'm not doing nothing but watching videos and learning more, because I'm like, this, if I had this information before my pawpaw passed, I could have helped him out. So, so once I got onto that, like I said, I was watching videos every day, on and on and on. And I'm like, I need to apply this stuff. So I started doing like 30-day plant-based things, 30-day like vegetarian, all that. Then I worked my way up till plant-based. So why I do that now is because in America, we wait for crises to happen before we want to change. We wait till somebody passes, or we wait till, oh, you got cancer. It's like, oh, now I got to try to make things better. But why not never get sick? Why do you have to wait till you get sick to want to do better? So holistic healing is all about preventative instead of doing stuff when it's too late, essentially. Yeah. So I don't want people to go through what I went through. I don't want people to have to lose people in order to be like, all right, I need to get my life on track. Just get it on track and you'll never have to worry about anything. Yeah. And it's funny because there's a documentary on Netflix called What the Health. And it's about like going vegan and like how you said with the cows.
Kyrie talked about that a lot. Yeah. Kyrie said that, I think it was that documentary. He said it scared the shit out of him and completely changed his whole, because now he's all in Ramadan. Yeah. He's plant-based, he's vegan. Like he preaches that. Yeah. So like
my mom, she watched that vegan instantly in high school. This is in high school. Like I said, when I'm eating bad, she was like, oh no, we're going vegan. We're not doing this. I saw they was doing the cows and all that. And we looking at her. I have 5 younger brothers. There's 6 of us. And we looking at her like she crazy, like vegan, like we can't eat meat and no milk and cheese. I swear she came home and she didn't know what she was doing, because a lot of people when they go vegan, like we don't know where to start. Yeah. So all she brought was salad, almond milk and cereal. So that's like all we ate for like
almond
a
milk
week.
Is nice.
It's too water. It's like water. It's watered down. I feel like it don't have a.
You gotta mix it
with what?
It's good when I put it in smoothies.
Okay, I can
rather than
that.
just like regular milk.
Yeah,
for sure. Milk, bro. I used to drink regular milk all the time.
Me too.
Ask anybody in my family, bro. Like
I would just get a glass and just fill it up and just chug it.
Bro.
Everything tastes better in a glass. I don't know why, but
that's true.
Milk in a glass, a nice cold glass.
Yes,
I could drink that all the time.
110%.
I did that a lot growing up. But when she did that, we was like, she crazy, like just looking at her crazy because it was unheard of at this time. It's probably to be like 2015, 2016, something like that. So that lasted for like a week because we were like, we can't do this no more. So now seeing that, now I'm like, I'm glad that my mom, I'm like, I'm glad that you did that. You planted that seed because at the time I was like, she crazy. But now I'm like, okay, she was actually trying. So I give thanks for that. So that's how I got into it.
Okay. There you go. I think, and that brings me to another point, like growing food now. And I feel like that's the next step for people like you and I, people that are wanting to get into self-sufficiency, being able to do things yourself and not really have to go to a grocery store all the time or have to rely upon corporations or even going out to eat all the time for us to get our nutrients. So like when you're learning this holistic practice, how integral is growing your own food? Like, are you growing your own food right now?
I'm not. I've tried many times. I've grown peppers, but then I gave them to my grandmother. That was doing good. But then I transitioned to like herbs. So I did like lemon balm and oregano. And when you're growing stuff, you're going to mess up. So like some of the things were dying, but then they came back. So I'll play around with it. But this year, I'm definitely going to grow some peppers that I got from St. Lucia. So they call them seasoning peppers. So in America, the peppers we get, like the bell peppers have like no flavor to them. They're bland. Or you can get like a hot pepper. So it's either bland or hot that we have in America.
Yeah, I had some bell peppers with my egg sandwich that I had today.
Yeah, but you got to flavor them to get some flavor.
Yeah, I always season them with pepper and adobo.
Right, so. But in the Caribbean, they have something called seasoning peppers. When I say these peppers are amazing, like I'm like, I need to bring these back. So I brought some seeds back from the Caribbean. So I'm gonna start growing those, and it's the perfect time because in the Caribbean it's always hot in the summertime here. So it's the perfect like climate to do it.
So where is St. Lucia?
It's kind of on the southern side of the Caribbean. So like beneath Jamaica, I believe, and like next to St. Thomas and all that. It's a very, very small island. Like you can, from like the north side of the island to the south side is like an hour drive. So not big at all.
How you spell it? Lucia?
Yep. IAN. Oh no, just A. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's right. Yeah, it's right above Venezuela. Like it's in between Venezuela and Puerto Rico. So you weren't too far from where I stayed. I stayed in Puerto Rico 2 years ago. And a testament to what you were talking about, like the difference in diet and how well they eat, and also like how happy they are too down there, like how happy and healthy looking they are down there, because not only the climate is so much better, but the food is so much better because the soil isn't degraded like it is here. Right. Like the soil here in America is overly degraded because, you know, we're putting concrete over the land in which we should be growing food. We're littering all the time. We have all this plastic and all these man-made materials going into the soil and degrading the soil. Down there, that's not perfect, of course. You know, there's still an element of capitalism and trash and stuff like that. But the homeless never starves. Right. Like there's fruit growing on trees. So like if they're hungry, they can literally just go to a tree and have that nutrients that they need. And also the population down there is just so much more wholehearted and wholesome. They're always willing to give what they got to the homeless as well to make sure, you know, that they don't starve at all.
Yeah, so, they're in a different mindset.
Yeah, bro.
And I think it has to do with the food. Like
for sure.
It's like when you explain to people, it's hard to like argue against it because like we're a certain way in America, and then the food is a certain way. And like I said, with the living conditions, not living conditions, the life expectancy, where we have the shortest life expectancy. We have like the most murderers ever. Like I think my girlfriend, she had looked it up. We have more murderers ever in America than every other country put together.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Put together.
Yeah.
And then the poverty, all these things, like it's connected to the food. The mental is connected to the food. The violence.
We have this overall sense of scarcity, but maybe that reflects of the scarcity of nutrients that we're getting as well.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's all connected. And like I said, with the nutrients in the soil, like if you go somewhere like in Iowa or like even Illinois where I stay, you'll go to like, it'll be like acres of land and it'll be like nothing but corn or nothing but soy. They're only growing one thing. Now, the earth, like we're mini earths. So like your gut bacteria, you need multiple things. Like you can't just survive on just like watermelon. You need watermelon, you need cantaloupe, you need all these different things.
Cantaloupe is that shit, man. I love cantaloupe, bro. Cantaloupe is my favorite fruit of all time.
Watermelon, the melons. They're on the melons.
Yeah. I freshly cut some watermelon yesterday. It's fresh. I'm gonna have to eat some after this. Yeah. Or maybe during the podcast, we have a watermelon session.
Hey, that's nice. Watermelon, some juice, and some tea. Hey,
that's what I'm saying, bro.
So, but in other countries, like in St. Lucia, they'll grow. Right in front of me could be 5 different plants just in front of me. So the biodiversity of the soil is way better because the nutrients that the soil is getting is coming from 1,000 different plants versus in America is only coming from one plant. So you're only getting one nutrient from that plant versus if you had 1,000 plants, now that soil is getting a whole bunch of nutrients.
Yes. So that's why I've heard many things like that. It's like, do not have a garden just to focus on one or two things. Like explore and really diversify the type of plants and fruit and vegetables that you're going to grow.
Yeah, it's going to benefit the soil. Like it's just like our gut bacteria. You have to diversify. You can't just eat the same thing because you're only going to get the nutrients from that one thing. And your body needs 1,000 different nutrients. The soil needs 1,000 different minerals. So you have to we got to expand a lot.
Yeah, for sure. So one thing I do want to ask, and it's something that I've always been interested in doing, and I guess my time in Puerto Rico, because I only spent like 2.5 months there 2 years ago. What is the importance of a retreat? Not only to maybe to figure out more ways to integrate a healthier diet, because I did have a healthier diet when I was in Puerto Rico. You know, better chicken because the chicken there was like farm raised, like you know that you're gonna get farm raised chicken. Like fruits and vegetables are growing everywhere, so it's like I could see, not only try to trust the grocery store that I was shopping from, but I could see that like they're legit growing their own stuff down here,
right? And
like they're about that life. How important is a retreat and to see something new outside of the sphere of influence that you grew up in, pertaining to diet, pertaining to spirituality, and just overall life experiences?
Well, the retreat part, I think is very important to get like the blueprint. Like I said, with us, we should be growing our own food. So when you get to go somewhere and like, okay, they're growing their own food, how can I do that? Let me ask some questions like, what plants are better grown at this time? Or how do you do X, Y, and Z? So you need the blueprint first. And then also being out there, you get to see like what your life could be. Because here in America, we're kind of stuck in the 9 to 5, working all the time. But then we go to a retreat and there, you don't see nobody working. Well, not working a job. They're just working the land. You're like, that's all they do all day? Like, they just work the land. They eat. They chill. It's like, they don't have a job. Like, but their job is taking care of the land. Because if you take care of the land, it will provide for you as well. Right. So what could your life? You get to see what your life could be like where you're not always working a 9 to 5.
Yeah, that's a necessary service compared to like some of the services up here. A lot of the services up here.
Right. So for me, it was very important to see that because I don't want to work a job for the rest of my life. what could you do if you didn't have to work and you could just live off the land? Like you said, you don't have to go into town to get no food. Everything is all there. You know, you could set up some water systems
and you only go to the grocery store unless if you absolutely
have to.
Yeah.
So like any crisis, the pandemic, when people can leave homes, like what if you was out there, you're like, oh, I'm chilling. Like I do this all the time. Like everybody,
I don't have to spend extra money for Instacart or DoorDash or nothing.
Man, and then Wall Street Trapper, he has a quote. He was like, if you give somebody permission to feed you, you give them permission to starve you. So all those people in America, we're so dependent on other people. It's like at any point in time, they can just cut the lights off. At any point in time, they could just take all the food away. Like, so how much power do we really have?
Let's really talk about that too. The amount of dependency that we have in Western civilization, to the point where it's like, not only do we rely on people to feed us, but we rely on people to entertain us. We rely on people for opinions, to shape our perspective of life, rather than going out and shaping our own experiences and our own our own opinions and our own life in general.
Right.
You know, that's a pandemic in itself, is that we're overly lazy and that we don't have the discipline to take failure and learn from failure. You know, we are so afraid from failure to the point where it keeps us in this, this circle of conveniency. Man. And we live on conveniency here. You know, Amazon can deliver a package in a day or less, and we don't have to go out and do anything to get it or anything. We can rely on nothing but entertainment rather than going out for entertainment. We can just go to our phones. It's just like, while it may look like and feel like it's good to have everything at the push of a button, it actually degrades our human experiences.
Right.
It degrades our source of opinion of not only ourselves but the world around us, to the point where somebody else is shaping our life experiences and our perspective of life and ourselves too as well.
Right.
That's one issue that I have with social media, is that we're allowing social media and other people and other influencers on those platforms to shape our worldview of the world around us, let alone ourselves as well. And that's a pandemic.
Right. And then if you're always in the house and all that, it's easier to be influenced, because like I said, if I never go to a retreat, if I never see the world, anything you tell me, I'll believe, because I have no experience. But if I've been to 50 different countries and then you want to tell me something that's bad for me, or the world is like, no, I was in the Caribbean and it wasn't like that. I went to China and it wasn't like that. So that's why it's so easy for us to be influenced, because everything is so easy. We don't have to go nowhere. We don't have to experience it. So whatever you give me, hey, I'll take it, because this is all I know. But if I had some prior knowledge, I could be like, no, it's not really like that. Or yeah, it's like that because I've experienced that. And then just even like modern man, like how you said, we don't have to leave for nothing. 1,000 years ago, you had to walk this place, you had to hunt your food down, had to grow and all that. So the mental,
even 100 years ago, it was completely different.
Way different.
100 years ago, I saw a statistic about the fruits and vegetables that we're getting. Since the soil is so degraded, it takes 8 oranges to get the same amount of nutrients as it was for one orange 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is insane. And that's not just the issue in the seeds and our food in general, but it's the land as well. Like, we are degrading this land because, like I said earlier, we're putting concrete, we're putting a bunch of these man-made materials to build these cities, and we're covering up the land, and we're not allowing the dirt and the soil to breathe, so it has the opportunity to grow and the opportunity to nurture the people and the animals that live on this land as well.
Yeah, we're getting further from nature, and that is horrible. Like this whole the VRs and the brain chip implants they're trying to do, and uploading their consciousness onto computers and all that. Is like, this is not the way to go. We're going a whole 180 from the direction that we used to be in. We were more tapped in than the land.
The World Economic Forum is talking about how we're going to get our protein from bugs too, and how we're just going to serve bugs and all that, which I'm just like, who gave you jurisdiction to make the decisions for me what I'm gonna eat? Because I'm not eating no damn bugs. This is not Fear Factor.
Right.
Also, they came up with this concept called a 15-minute city. Have you ever heard of that? Mm-mm. So what a 15-minute city is, essentially they believe, but they're kind of pushing for this subconsciously, and a lot of people aren't really paying attention to it. They want people to live in urban areas, of course, always be in the center of the city. And they want everybody to be 15 minutes away from the center of the city, which is going to provide all the jobs, all the school, all the food, all the necessities that you need to run a civilization will be 15 minutes away, whether if it's walking distance, transportation, and I forgot the other thing too as well. Like public transportation, like buses, trains, everything will be 15 minutes altogether. It will be connected by 15 minutes. Like everything will be in the center of the city, and
it's all in one spot.
Yeah, it will all be in one spot, and everybody will be 15 minutes away from the center of the city. But and they're buying all the land, all the rural area. I know Bill Gates owns.
He's buying a lot of land.
Yeah, I think he owns the most farmland in America right now. And a lot of people fact check that, but I don't believe the fact checkers at all, of course.
He got the money for it, so.
Of course.
So a person like that growing land, what is their agenda?
Right. And also he's big on GMO foods and like the new 3D printed foods and stuff like that, which is insane.
Man. In Russia, you can go to jail for growing GMOs.
Yeah.
Jail. And people are eating GMO. People don't even know what GMO is. They just eat it. Like, it's just the mindset and the things that they do to us here is just crazy. Like, other places, like I said, going to jail for a GMO, like, that's something I applaud because they know the importance of that. Like, people, other countries look at America and they like, okay, we know what not to. Like, we know what does not work because they be tripping over there.
Yeah, look at Europe. Like, the ingredients that it takes to make McDonald's fries here is like 20 more ingredients than it is to make McDonald's fries in Europe.
Yeah.
And Europe is more like actual potatoes and not GMO products at all. The healthiest that you can be to make McDonald's fries at the very least. Yeah. Here, it's just a concoction of verified bullshit.
Badness and madness.
Yeah.
It was a trend on TikTok a long time ago, and people were leaving America and like going to Europe or Asia and all that and eating literally the exact same things. Like I said, the McDonald's, it could be some cereal, the same brands, and they were losing weight. Eating the exact same things. And it's because, like you said, 20 ingredients versus 5 ingredients.
What is the obesity right here? I think it's like 50% now, or crazy. 60. Let's test that out. Obesity.
We gotta do better, man.
Yeah, bro. Obesity rate in America is now 41% of all adults as of last year.
And now children.
Black adults is 50%. So half of the black population is obese.
Yeah.
Insane. Yeah. And let's touch on that. Let's touch on that conversation. Because where did you grow up here in St. Louis? I didn't grow up in black communities at all. I will admit that. I grew up in the likes of Webster Groves or Afton and Melville in the county, pretty much. But where did you grow up?
So we moved all over the place. So I've been on the west side, the north side, and the south side. So, so like kind of down the street from here, but way, way, way further down. Like I said, the west side kind of towards the Loop. And then the north side on Cass and downtown area. So city, inner city, never really was in the county, nothing like that.
What is one thing that you notice in the inner city, especially that is primarily black populated communities? You look at the gas stations, a lot more advertisements for cigarettes, a lot more advertisements for alcohol, a lot more fast food. One thing I found out, I forgot who told me, if it wasn't for Schnucks, there is a Schnucks, a 2-minute walk right here in the city. If it wasn't for Schnucks, and I think Aldi too as well, St. Louis City will be an absolute desert for food and grocery stores if it wasn't for Schnucks and Aldi too. But I'm going to give more props to Schnucks because that's the hometown hero right
I
here.
never thought about that.
Yeah.
It is a lot of Schnucks and Aldi's here.
Yeah.
And then you get like the Deerbergs. Like,
But Aldi is also getting in trouble for a lot of the stuff that they carry. They got in trouble for their meats and like specific things found in their meat that can poison you, can cause disease and make you sick and stuff like that. Not real at all. So it's like, that's why I kind of just like push Aldi to the side, because I don't really get, when you walk into an Aldi, I don't really get like a holistic type of vibe. It just looks fake.
I don't get that vibe from no store. Shit.
Yeah. Yeah, the fruits and vegetables are a lot more cheaper there, but it's just like, I don't know, it just feels fake.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say shout out to their cashew prices, like way better than any other store though. I will say a lot more bang for your buck.
Yeah, I love Aldi, man. But like, I'm plant-based, so I just get the fruits and all that. But every store, I get that vibe from every store, really. That's why I gotta
For sure.
down like, I have the herbs and all that, but my end goal is to start a holistic health grocery store, because like how you said with convenience, it can be is a bad thing in America. But as far as grocery stores, like when I tell people to eat better, they might not have the herbs, but they might have the food. Or some people can afford the herbs and not the food. So if I could have all those places in one spot, you know, like a live shelf there to cook up plant-based, just as many, so that people don't have to worry about nothing. They can get all their things, all their health things in one spot. You know, have bugs, the incense, the sage, the crystals, all that in just one big ass grocery store. So that's my end goal. I want to be like one of those people in St. Louis that like help out and like change the city type thing. And I know I can do that through food, because that's what happened with me.
For sure. And one thing to touch back on convenience too as well is that it's crazy to think that it's more convenient to get these sugary stuff, the quick microwave dinners for a cheaper price compared to healthy foods.
Right.
Like what's your 2 cents on that? Which is kind of insane to me. I get it, but at the same time, it's insane to me.
Oh, why the healthy stuff is more expensive than the non-healthy stuff?
Yeah, because I mean that goes back to convenience, and you know we're in the country that doesn't understand money too as well, let alone our food, to the point where it's like we're always going to pick the cheaper stuff when the cheaper stuff is nowhere near as healthy as the more expensive things.
Right. Well, before I answer that, I'll just, like you said, with the watermelon, seeded watermelon, you just take one of those seeds. You get a whole bunch of watermelons from that one seed. Or a blueberry. You can get a whole bunch of blueberries from one seed. So, and blueberries are pretty cheap. Well, not now, but cheap as for one. So you can make a lot more money off of selling fruits because they're so cheap once you have that seed, because you can have an abundance after that. But then the meat, you got to raise the cattle, you got to feed the cattle, you got to butcher the cattle, you got to package the cattle. That takes a lot more work than planting the seed and watering that.
For sure. And also the slaughter companies, the people that be slaughtering the animals don't really have the best morals at all.
Right.
Which we can touch on that too. Like convenience doesn't really go with morals either as well. You know, the more convenient that we become, the more that we have allowed ourselves to let go of mortality.
Right.
Because capitalism now is built on convenience.
Right.
And while convenience can be nice at times, the things that you're willing to trade away just for a more convenient life isn't reflecting any type of positive mortality at all.
Right. So whenever the unhealthy stuff is cheap and they're constantly promoting that, is because they want us to be unhealthy. Like the pharmaceutical industries is like $1 billion industries.
Man, they made so much money in 2020. They made so much money
off of sick people. So imagine if the fruit, like you said, convenience. If the fruit is cheaper, now I have no choice but to get the fruit because I might not have a lot of money. I won't ever get sick. So that's a whole profit. There's a whole $1 trillion, $1 billion industry that they just lost.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, as far as the nutrition and the health and all that, doctors in America only have to take like one nutrition class. And doctors go to school for years, like more than 4 years, I think, to get the doctors. Like, I think it's 6 or something. So, yeah, one nutrition class. So a lot of times when I tell certain people, like, you need to eat this and eat that, like, oh, no, my doctor said that eating better won't help me. Or, yeah, like, it doesn't matter if I'm plant-based or not. Okay. I'll still get this. But I'm like, that's what they're supposed to tell you because they haven't been told. And they just know how to, they know how to treat symptoms. And mind you, I said treat, not heal, not cure.
Exactly.
We've been treating things. We've just been putting a Band-Aid over it.
There's a lot more money in treatments than cures. Exactly. Because if I cure you, you're not coming back.
You're not coming back at all.
Treat you, I'll see you next week.
Exactly. And then even with the morals, there's a thing where doctors get paid more money if a woman has a C-section over a natural birth. They get paid like $10,000 for a C-section.
Yeah.
So even if you don't need it, they might like encourage it so they can get that money. Or with pharmaceuticals be like, hey, we got this new drug. If you put it out to your patients, you might get a little something. So they might promote that as well.
You know what's insane too is that the World Health Organization, a lot of the people that make these rules and these not procedures, but these lines of guidance, I guess you would say, are not in shape whatsoever or do not have the best diets at all. Like, have you seen some of the people that work at the WHO?
Yes.
Like, very, very wide people for sure.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with I love my wide people, but like, let's be real, man.
You got to look the part.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to, as a basketball player, it's hard to take a coach serious when they trying to tell me to do all these things and you never played a lick of basketball in your life. Exactly. Or you 300 pounds. But if I know, like, you went to college, you put in some working on it, I'm like, okay, now we can have some common ground. But if you're just telling me to do all these things and you not implement it or never was in your time, how am I going to look at you?
It doesn't make sense. Like, this is something that I've had. This is a big pet peeve of mine in terms of like the gym industry. Why are we hiring people that do not look the part or do not even work out at all? Like, I get it that they're good for the company because maybe they bring a good sense of customer service and are good managers. But at the same time, what is the underlying objective here? It's not just to make money, but it's to bring and offer an opportunity to people for a healthier lifestyle.
Right.
Not only in diet wise, but getting out and working out and pumping some iron and getting in shape. You don't have to look all big and everything, but just get some exercise in. It's integral to get exercise in. And there's so many different ways to get that exercise in. Cardio, lifting weights, sports. There's so many different ways, but it's like, if you walk into the gym and you see people that are overweight working at the gym, it's just like, okay, can I really take your advice? Can I really trust you on
That's
this?
what I'm saying. You gotta look the part. And like, I'm trying to look like you. Like, if I had a trainer that was like ripped and cut and he telling me to do these things, I'm like, okay, obviously whatever you're doing is working because I can look at you and tell. But like I said, if you're bigger and you're telling me to do push-ups and all that, I'm like, I know you're not doing this stuff because just based off of how you look. So it's like, it's hard to believe in that when the person doesn't look the part.
That's a problem in spirituality too. And that's something that, I constantly every day have to check myself, is that if I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm talking about spirituality when I don't even practice it, when that is the basis of spirituality, it's not belief, but it's practice as well. It's experience. It's putting yourself in positions to grow. So if you're constantly talking about spirituality, but you don't have any practices at all and have any drive to get better and get deeper within that practice, then you're a fraud.
Right.
And it's like, we can't listen to people that preach spirituality, but don't take any steps to further their own spirituality as well. So it's like, if you're just preaching, and that's the problem with a lot of preachers, is that all you do is just preach, but you don't practice. That is a sin in my eyes, for sure.
Practice what you preach. Yeah,
Exactly.
Sure. What are some of your favorite spiritual practices?
All right. So reading is huge. Studying is huge. Constantly understanding that truth can be found in so many different areas in life, not just in one. So when it comes to Mrs. Psychology, I want to bring the world together through different teachings, different religions, different forms of spirituality and mysticism. I don't want to just label myself as a Christian or a Buddhist, because I'll only be able to talk to people of those practices. And my job isn't to convert you at all or try to convince you in any type of way. My job is just to plant those seeds. And how can I plant those seeds if I only know one way of living? Well, there is something called the pathless path. And the pathless path is we all are led to the same goal, which is enlightenment, which is to return home. However, that path to get there is completely different than you. Like my path is completely different than yours.
Right.
We may have these similarities, but at the end of the day, it's always going to be a difference.
Right.
My path could be through Mrs. Psychology, while your path is through holistic care, mainly focusing on dietary options and food and growing food and mental and physical health as well. So it's like there's so many different paths that we can take. We're just going to lead to the same place. So my path is to bring people together through different forms of truth, and which requires me to study different forms of truth.
Yeah,
requires me to study and read books on Buddhism while reading books on Islam, reading books on Christianity, reading books on Judaism, Hinduism, all these different things, because I want to be able to have the capacity to speak to different cultures and speak to different people from all around the world, rather than speak to one audience and stay with that one audience. Like I want to speak to everybody if I can. But at the end of the day, I'm not here to convert you. I'm not here to convince you. I'm just here to plant seeds. But I can't do my job thoroughly if I don't take the practices seriously. That's why I have to meditate every day. That's why I have to be in silence at some point in my day. I have to read every day. I have to listen to binaural beats whenever I have the chance to. I have to quiet the mind and go past thoughts, not just understand the thoughts, but understand what lies beyond the thoughts, the emotions and the presence too as well. Presence is the most important thing. It's not the thoughts, it's not the emotions, because if you don't know the presence that lies beyond all things, then you're never truly in touch with the creator. You're always only going to get in touch with the creation that always comes after the creator.
You just reminded me of children.
Yeah.
Children are so tapped in.
Yeah, for sure.
They're fresh from where we come from, so that has to do with it. But they're so present. Like if you tell a child, like they're like, "Can you make me some food?" But all right, give me 5 minutes. That 5 minutes to a child is going to feel like an hour.
Even if they don't know how to, they're going to be like, "All right, I guess I'm just going to try." You said to do this, so I gotta be present, and I'm just gonna give you the best I can do.
Yeah. So, but to us, that 5 minutes might go by super fast because we might be on our phone, we might be talking to somebody. So it's like, all right, it's been 5 minutes. All right, give me another 5, because it went like that to them. But to us, it went by super fast. But to them, it was so long because they were so present for that moment.
Yeah.
So I think that children, we really need to start focusing more on the children and teaching them different ways than we do, because a lot of times, like I said, they're so tapped in and they're so imaginative and have so many questions, but we just like try to dumb them down, or like we try to make them adults as children. Like, no, don't think like that, don't ask that type of question, don't do this, don't do like. But no, I'm trying to experience and get to know my environment, and you're holding me back in a sense.
If I don't ask questions, then I'm not going to go anywhere in life. I'm going to continue to be in this one stage in life,
right,
and never grow beyond that, because I don't have the capacity to ask the question of what lies beyond where I'm at right now.
Yeah,
and that's an issue.
Yeah, and then a lot of times we're making our children ourselves. Like I said, don't ask questions. But my parents did that to me, so I'm gonna do that to my child, and then it just recycles and recycles.
Yeah, and that I was thinking about that yesterday because what does it truly mean to end generational curses? And with this whole Kendrick Drake thing going on, it made me want to go back to re-listen to Kendrick's catalog. And on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, he really touches on generational trauma and learning the unhealed parts and confronting the unhealed parts and the traumatic issues and events that we went through and experiences that we went through, and get over that hump, not only for ourselves, but for the next generation, because I do not want you to be in the same position that I was in.
Right.
I want you to be in a better position. I want you to be in different experiences. I don't want you to have to experience the same thing that I went through.
Right.
While there are going to be similarities, of course, overall, I want your life to be completely different than mine.
Yeah.
I want my life to be nothing but a foundation for yours to build off of.
My ceiling is your floor.
Right. And then whatever you do with your ceiling is going to be the floor of the children that come after.
Yeah.
And it just has to be a continuous cycle over and over again. I grow so you can grow more than me, and then my grandchildren grows more than you, and it just keeps going. That's how it needs to be. And I don't think that first of all, we're not tapped in terms into the importance of ancestry and what our ancestors done, and giving them praise and grace, regardless of the issues that they went through and regardless of all the good things that they went through. It's like we have to be grateful for the position that they put us in, good or bad, regardless of their mistakes and regardless of the traumas that they had, even on their deathbed. Yeah. So that's a goal that I stand by. And it has to be for the children. I'm glad that you brought up children, because that is one of the main reasons why I do what I do. And I'm sure that you do what you do as well, is for not only the generation that we're experiencing right now, but for the next generation after us. Because if we don't act, especially with everything that has been going on in the last couple of years and has, shaped the psyche and the perspective of the new generation now, the Zoomers, I guess you would say, it's kind of detrimental for sure, because they're locked into their phones. They're locked into this false ideology of what life is, not the best diets at all, dehumanized, desensitized, sexualized. And it's just, we have to be the ones to be present. We're the now, and what we do now matters greatly, especially for the next generation. We always have to hold that account. We always have to hold ourselves accountable for that job. And I mean, it's an honor to do that, regardless of how much struggle and how hard it can be at times. Yeah. We have to walk that thin line, because if we walk that thin line, we teach the generation after us to do the same, and whatever account they have to.
I think about that a lot. As far as ancestors, like, I'll just be talking to myself. I'm like, are my ancestors proud of me? Like, am I doing what they envisioned 3 generations from now to look like? Like, all the things that they went through, all the seeds that they planted. I'm like, are our ancestors proud of us? Like, honestly, because I'm like, the things that they went through, like, if I were to go through them things, like, I know that I would have probably reacted way differently than them, or like just stuff like that. I'm like, bro, like, I need to do something that like makes my ancestors proud. I know they're always within me, and then with the children's situation, like, I don't, like, we're still helping this generation, but I want my children and their children to like know the truth. Like, a lot of things that we grew up being taught was like false and all that. But imagine if you knew about meditation at 5, or if you were grounding at 5, or you were journaling and doing affirmations, all this from a youngin'. Like, I've grown so much in the 2 years that I've been doing it at 23. But if I grew up on this stuff, like I said, they're already present, they're already tapped in naturally. So what if we give them things to build on that? those children would be like superheroes.
I'm saying, bro,
Like for real. So I'm trying to do my best to get to that point myself so that I can teach the next people that. And then not even my children, everybody's children, like my friends' children, my little brothers. Like it's not just my children. I'm looking at my family as the world now, not just my blood family, because blood doesn't make you family. And I'm learning. I've learned that, but I'm viewing the whole world as family, and I want to help everybody.
In the way that the Black community connects with each other too, it's like we always call each other cousin,
right?
Like, even if we're not cousins at all, it's like we like instinctively know that family extends beyond blood.
Yeah. That tribal mindset.
Yeah, right. And there's nothing wrong with a tribal mindset. We just can't lean on that too much to the point where it compromises our individuality.
Yeah.
And vice versa. We can't lean into our individuality too much to the point where it compromises our collectivism and tribalism and family, which is on that point, like that's something that I struggled with, was being so in tune, not in tune, but in the beginning of spirituality, I got to a point where it was like I became overly dependent upon my individualism rather than collectivism. And I had to find that balance, because beforehand it was vice versa. I was so leaned on tribalism and getting my ideas from other people, trying to form my lifestyle and my life experiences after other people, which that's a waste of time, a complete waste of time and energy. And then, like I said, getting into spirituality, I focused heavily on my individualism, which, you know, you have to.
Right.
Now I'm in the point where, especially with this podcast, how can I express my individuality with a sense of collectivism as well? You know, still connecting with the collective, still connecting with, still communicating with the collective unconscious, constantly coming together with people around me and sharing ideas, because we can't grow as a people if we're not willing to share ideas and even question not only ourselves but each other as well. But one thing I do want to touch on in terms of ancestry, and it goes back to diet, is that if you have a certain diet and that diet maintains, especially in the conception of a child, a lot of the things that you're putting in your body, you're also putting in that child's body as well.
Of course, yeah.
So like I have an addiction to sugar sometimes. Like that is a guilty pleasure. That is a guilty pleasure. And we live in a world now where we have an insane amount of added sugars in a lot of the foods that we eat now, which is like, it's dumbfounded how much added sugars we put in just regular foods.
Yeah.
In
red sauce pasta.
Yeah,
like,
bro, it's insane. That's what I was gonna get to. Like the pasta sauce that we have, whether it's red sauce or white sauce, the amount of added sugars that we put in that is insane. It's crazy.
And you wouldn't even know unless you read it, because it doesn't taste sweet, because they have so many other chemicals that mask the sweetness, but you're still getting all that sugar.
Of course, bro. And that's why we need to really talk about and have a connection towards our diet, because you are what you eat.
Yeah.
And you're going to feel that vibration. But also, if you're willing to have kids and you are having kids, they're going to get affected as well before they even have any food to eat.
Man, I see a lot of people, like their children will have like different ailments and all that, and I'm like,
deficiencies and stuff like that too.
Yeah, or like just mental things and all that. And then some parents might be like upset with the child, like, why are you like this? And I'm like, because of you. Like, what was the mother eating while she was pregnant?
Man, I can't imagine what my mom was eating. I know some of my sugar addiction definitely comes from, you know, the way that I grew up as, for sure. Because the amount of sugar that I ate back then, especially with the lack of discipline towards food and diet in my family, that definitely shaped, you know, the reason why I'm so connected to sugar now. Right. Overly connected to sugar, I will say. I don't have a balanced looking sugar just yet. I'm working on it for sure, and I'm aware of it. It's just, you know, just taking the steps to do it, and not allowing that that little whisper in my ear to
Sneak
eat that
some
one
of this.
cookie.
It's
Because
all right.
I love cookies so
And that
much.
one
man.
don't ever just be one.
No,
It's
never,
more. It's more.
never. Like I go like hot box cookies down the street. I'm like, I'm gonna give me a chocolate chip cookie. I end up getting a 6-pack.
Right. For real.
But and also I can't continue to depend on how fast my metabolism is, because just because my metabolism fast doesn't mean it's okay to eat this, because you're still putting certain things that your body doesn't need and that can poison your body into its system.
Right.
Especially if I want my skin and my hair and my muscles and my whole body obviously to have max performance, because I still want to be able to lift weights at a very old age. I still want to be athletic and play basketball, play baseball and other sports. I still want to do this when I have kids as well. And I was grateful to have a dad that was still healthy enough to do that. But I want to take it to a next level. I want to be healthier than him. I want to be the dad with, the ripped body and everything, that still eating very, very well.
Yeah.
Still moving very well at 80, 90, 100 years old.
Man, I swear, I'm trying to live to like 200. Like,
That's what I'm saying.
I know we can't live that long. Like, I genuinely.
Look at the Bible, like we lived for hundreds of years.
Man.
And it wasn't until the temptation of, material things that we started to lose that lifeline, because we started to idealize false gods and things that only give us temporal energy rather than eternal energy that's found within these foods, within these herbs, within these lifestyles and these practices. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to touch on, is like the importance of diet as parents, and knowing like how no matter what we eat, like our children are gonna see that as well. Not only during conception, but like eating with our children and having these bad diets, especially with young children that just absorb everything.
Right. So what I'm gonna say is, it's for children, specifically babies, whenever they're being breastfed.
Yeah, I don't get the Gerber stuff either. The baby food and all that. I'm sure that tips you off.
It does, but America. But the natural breast milk, breast milk is like 90 to like 95% sugar, just straight sugar. And you be seeing how fat babies are. Like, babies be fat as much. They be flexible now, and they can run around, but babies be heavy off of just straight sugar. And then you might have children that are like eating chicken wings or like leg bones or whatever, at like 1 or 2 years old. Like, and they're young. Like, you should still be
getting
like,
in front of the iPad and everything.
Yeah. So why are we starting off our children so young on these bad things? When, like I said, breast milk is 90% sugar. So that tells you right there that you can survive off of fruits and vegetables, because that's all that's in fruits and vegetables are sugar and but it's minerals.
Good sugar. It's different than the sugar found in like cookies or ice cream and stuff like that.
And a lot of people don't know that. They're like, oh no, I can't have fruit. It's too much sugar in it.
It's a different type of sugar.
But they don't know that. They just focus on, my doctor said not to eat a lot of sugar. But like I said, it's the bad sugar, because everything you eat, your body breaks it down to glucose. Glucose is sugar. So what's the smart way of doing it? Why not give my body something that already naturally has sugar in it, versus something that doesn't have sugar in it? My body has to work extra hard to convert it into sugar. Why not just give it sugar? How, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like the argument of like eating plants versus eating animals. The animals ate the plants. You're getting secondhand nutrients. Why not just get the nutrients from the source?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But as far as children, there's something that some people do in other countries where like they get out of school and work and they eat together as a family. I really enjoy that, because it's the food, but also the community behind it. Like, some children are eating food in like the public schools where there's a lot going on, and whenever you eat things, you need to be like your parasympathetic side of your nervous system. But if you're in a chaotic environment, like I said, it could be school, it could be daycare, because I've been to some daycares in St. Louis and all, they like just tripping. But
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on. So yeah, you can focus on the food, but like I said, what was your mental, like how was your body in that moment? while you were eating it, because that's going to determine if I'm upset while I'm eating food, my body's not going to digest it as much, because like I said, I'm gonna be on the sympathetic versus the parasympathetic.
Yeah.
So we can focus on the food, but like I said, what was your state of mind? Like I said earlier, as far as older people living to like 100 in America, but they were eating horribly. What was their state of mind? Were they working out, stuff like that? So I think with children, we need to start them off on like fruits and vegetables, and then maybe when they get older, you could add in the meats and all that. But to start off,
let's earn those, those pleasurable foods, and you have to earn that. Let's not give that to our children right away.
And even
let's
that,
also
like you said,
not give them, because if we're doing that, then we're automatically putting that idea of convenience into other people, into kids.
Yeah. But you said earn it. Yeah. That's funny that you said that, because back in the day, eating meat meant that you had money. Like a lot, steak and potatoes, that was an expensive meal back. That's like something you cook like once every Sunday.
And
like,
while the black community back then was getting the hand-me-downs, the pig intestines,
right,
and all of that.
Or even way back, have you ever heard of King's disease?
I heard the song.
It's the actual thing. Me too. It's the actual thing where like the kings and queens used to have like gout and all that, because the queens and kings had all the money so they could eat meat.
Okay.
But the peasants were all surviving off of plants and bread and all that. So you got the king's disease because you were a king, so you were able to eat a lot of meat, so you would get these diseases, versus the peasants, they wouldn't get those diseases because they couldn't afford the meat. So it was more expensive, but it's way worse for you. Mm-hmm. And the proof is in the pudding. Like I said, the King's disease and all that, they didn't live that long, and then their lifestyles weren't that healthy as well.
Man, meat is good. Don't get me wrong. Like pause, but like I'm a huge fan of chicken. That's kind of like the only thing like that's really keeping me.
It's fish for me. Fish was very hard to give up, man.
I didn't grow up in like a fish household.
Some catfish, man.
Yeah, bro. Because my dad was allergic to fish. So we never had fish. It was just chicken. Mm-hmm. I didn't start eating steak until like damn near middle school. Like I was always reluctant towards beef.
The beef.
Which was probably like a deeper spiritual minded.
For sure.
Because I definitely feel that I was always spiritual minded. I just never understood it until, I became 21, and then I started to understand that lifestyle. But that brings me to a question. We talked about your rising, your uprising in terms of diet. But what is it in terms of spirituality, though? I'm kind of interested to hear that.
A lot of things that, like when you brought up the child experiences, a lot of things that will happen to me as a child, I didn't understand why they were happening or why I felt the way I did until like now, where I got more information. So a lot of times when I was a child, I would have sleep paralysis, where whenever I would get up, I wouldn't be able to move and all that. Like I didn't have it to where people like they see things like see like little objects or some spooky thing.
Somebody standing at the end of the bed,
exactly,
stuff like that. I never had that.
I never had that, but I couldn't move for like a good 20 minutes every time I got up.
Yeah, that's freaky, scary, bro. Like I've done it before.
Like it's very scary because you can hardly breathe, and you're like literally trying your hardest to move your body when you get up, but you just can't. And I was fearful of telling my mom those things because I didn't want her to be like that's the devil type thing. Yeah. So I wouldn't say nothing. But then I don't know if it's true, but fast forward now, people say it's like, because whenever you sleep, your astral body goes, and then that's just you coming back. So that's why you can't move. So things like that would happen to me when I was a child. I would always I think it's called clairaudience, to where I can hear silence, if that makes sense. Yeah. I would always be able to hear silence, especially when I'm alone. I can just hear this little sound, but it's silent though, but I can still hear it.
During sleep paralysis?
No, just period.
Okay.
If I'm in a room to myself or the house by myself, I can hear silence.
That's interesting that you brought that up. I remember there would be certain mornings as a kid where I wake up and I would be super overly peaceful to the point where it's I can hear literally everything.
Yeah.
But also I hear nothing.
Hear nothing, though.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
So that's interesting that you brought that up. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I just never knew how to like explain those experiences until you brought that up.
Yeah, or like ringing in the ears, ringing like.
Dude, that happens to me all the time.
That sound
all the time. I think that happened to me a couple times yesterday.
Yeah. I get them in both ears, or you can get them. Oh, it'll be one and the other, or sometimes it'll be both.
I get the high pitch. I get low pitch.
Yes, it's weird.
I don't know. I think they mean different things. I've found a couple of like different explanations.
So for me,
but at the end of the day, like I just go towards my intuition and what my intuition is trying to tell me.
Right. For me, on my left side, it's more like a confirmation or like a yes, and on my right, it's more like a warning or trying to get my attention. So like, say if I'm like trying to, should I do this? And it'll be I'll get a ringing in my left ear. It'll be like, okay, yes, because that's yes, or a confirmation. But then right is like no, or a warning behind it. So I have those as a child. Or I was like, as a child, I always felt like somebody was like watching me, or like somebody was out to get me, which I feel like is like a childish thing, just generally. But like literally, I would always stay up at like, I would be up all the time because I could just feel like somebody watching me. Or I was the child to where if I'm downstairs,
you just feel presence.
Yes. Like if I'm downstairs and I cut off the lights, like I have to run up the steps because I feel like someone is like literally on my back, like trying to get me. But like, it was just weird.
I guess that kind of reflects our lack of knowledge of spiritual entities and also like being overly sensitive, because as a kid, you're overly sensitive to the world around you. That's why you're so easily manipulated or easily to absorb the environment around you, because you don't have the capacity, or you were never taught the capacity to of discernment in a way. So definitely what you're talking about definitely brings that back up too as well, because I'm like, you're just bringing up certain things that I went through. I'm like, that's interesting that you went through that too.
It's weird. Like I couldn't go to sleep because I'm like, somebody is in that room like looking at me. Like it was just a feeling. I'm like, I'm by myself. I know that just by looking, but somebody is over there. Yeah. And that's a weird feeling. So it would keep me up all night. So yeah, those were my experiences as a child. And then like I said, fast forward, you get more information on like, okay, that's what happened, or that could have been this and that could have been that type thing. So that's where I'm at now with it. But I'll say spirituality is probably the last thing that I have learned about. Cause like I said, it started off with the food, and eating better. And I noticed the more I ate better and all that, I would get more videos would pop up, or more signs would pop up of like getting into spirituality and meditation and psychedelics and all that. So I didn't start off on the spiritual path. I started off on just eating better. And like I said, my mental got better. So I had the mind and body. But then like, so whenever I was coming up with the business name, I'm like, I'm holistic healing. So what do I know about my soul? What do I know about my spirit? So that's where I got into like the meditation and the psychedelics and learning the life path and stuff like that. So spirituality is still kind of fresh to me, but it's not fresh. It's just putting a name to it. Like I said, all the childhood experience I had, that was all spiritual experiences. I just didn't know it. Right. So now, like I said, it's putting a face to a name, or a name to face, whatever.
But it kind of sticks with you too as well. Like whenever you finally get into that point in life where you're starting to understand your spirituality and get in tune with that. For me, I got brought back to many different experiences in my life where they kind of left me in like unanswered questions, or not being able to understand at the time because I didn't have the capacity to do so. Right. Now I'm going back to those such experiences and I'm like, wow, okay, this makes sense now. I understand what was going on here. I just didn't have the capacity to really understand until now. So it gave me a reminder that, okay, I've been spiritual all my life, or that I am a spiritual being having a human experience. Yeah. It just takes, like I said, the importance of studying, the importance of practice, because with that studying, with those practices is the recognition, but also the deeper connection with yourself and spirituality and others around you as well. So that's why it's super important to study and to have those practices and to integrate that honestly as soon as possible in the best way that you can understand it. And that's why we have to, and eating is part of those practices as well.
Yeah. And spirituality has helped me out a lot, because whenever I was learning this information, I just had like a lot of questions, like, who am I? Like, who is Cyrus? Like, what am I here to do? Like, I know I'm not here to work a job. Like, I know I'm not here to work a job, but I don't know what I'm actually here for. So spirituality has helped me a lot. Like I said, just answering questions, like I said, who am I? What am I here to do? What's my purpose? Stuff like that. So that's why I really enjoy spirituality, because it's giving me answers that I've always wanted to know growing up.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting because I'm glad that we're having this conversation, because again, it's putting me back in that position of looking back into such experiences that I went through, whether if I was conscious about my spiritual journey and unconscious about my spiritual journey. And it's just kind of, it's a refresher in a way of understanding that, these angels, these guides have always been on my side. It's just, I never understood how to approach that and how to integrate that into my life. And it brings me a reminder that every time that I fasted or every time that I was a juice cleanse, is that I finally created the space for that energy to come in more fluently, because it's kind of hard for you to do that because I just got off of a 3-month bulk. And when you're bulking, you're eating an insane amount of food. Like I ate the most food that I have in a long time. But I also felt that during this time, I wasn't really in tune with my spirituality as much as I could be, as much as I should be, which kind of made me not second guess, but kind of look back on the food choices and really make me think, okay, what should my diet be, especially if I want to maintain working out and, building my body up and still being muscular, because I love being muscular. I love being in an athletic body.
Right.
So it's just like constantly questioning my practices as well, especially when it comes to diet. And if anything, we met at the right time, because that was when I'm really contemplating dietary changes. So I'm very appreciative of the alignment.
Give thanks, me too. But I told you, whenever I saw 222 on your Instagram, I was like, yeah, because I've been seeing that prior to meeting you. Well, I still see it now, but I've been seeing 222 like crazy. And when you saw, I'm like, yeah, bro,
that's in my birthday. So 12/22, the 222. I was born on the 22nd. Okay. My dad's number is 22. My papa's number is 22. My number is 22. My two brothers is 22. So it's like my stepmom's number is 22. So it's like that number has always surrounded me. And twos is big in terms of balance, relationships, duality, harmony. And that's something that I stay true to is how can I continue to harmonize myself through art, through my spirituality, through diet, through connecting with people, through this podcast, through music. And that I wanted to segue into the music choices, kind of give us a little break of talking about everything else and get into the music. So I'm not gonna lie, bro. For the past 3 podcasts, I think Kendrick has made it an appearance in some way. I don't know if he made an appearance on the last one, but for the last couple of podcasts, Kendrick has been popping up, and Kendrick is a very spiritual minded guy, especially in terms of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers and ending generational trauma and everything that we talked about, he's touched on in that album. So Good Kid, Mad City specifically, why did you pick that album and how does it connect with you?
I picked it because definitely probably one of my favorite albums ever.
How old were you when that came out? Because I was in 8th grade.
What year?
That was 2012.
I think you're 2 years older than me, so probably 6th grade.
Okay.
But I would always like listen to the hype songs, the Poetic Justice, and
Bitch, don't kill my vibe.
yeah, don't kill my vibe type things. But as I got older, I started listening to like the Shireen's "Sing About Me When I'm Gone," and it's just like the way he expresses things is the storytelling behind it is like it's just crazy behind the beat as well. And it's like there's a lot of times, especially in this album, he'll say things that like the experiences he went through, he wasn't that type of person, but because of his environment, he had to act a certain way. So I resonate with that as well, because I'm not like a very violent person or like, aggressive, I'm more laid back. Yeah. But if I'm in a situation or I'm around certain people where I have to act like that or have to make a decision to where I typically wouldn't make by myself, like there's something like usually I'm drug free, but when I'm with the homies,
the art of peer pressure,
that's when like stuff like that is like, okay,
the home invasion and everything like that.
Exactly.
Just the whole story of how that and it doesn't reminisce. It doesn't reflect on like songs of Good Kid, like Good Kid. Good Kid, he talks about who he was
right
outside of the homies. Like, I've always been a good kid, but I'm just raised in a mad city.
Exactly. So that stuff like that, I was like, okay, I can resonate with that. But I didn't listen to songs until I got older, and I'm like, oh shit, like he's talking like I resonate with all this. Like, it's tough. So that's why I chose it.
Yeah, I resonate with Kendrick, not because of the environment I grew up in, because I didn't grow up in those type of environments. I always grew up in majority white neighborhoods that were peaceful, more safe, which I'm grateful for. But the connections that I feel with Kendrick are more internal, like the emotions that you feel, how you go about the human experience in a way, and just feeling the human experience and learning from certain experiences. Though we may not have the same experiences that we've gone through, our process of how to learn from those is kind of identical. And now when I'm getting to a point where I'm truly understanding my artistic expression and wanting to use that a lot more, I can connect with him on a deeper level now, because I understand the importance of an artistic expression, and like having depth behind it, having meaning behind it. That's why I was really hype in terms of like the whole beef that he went through, because Drake is the materialistic guy personified, pretty much. He lives behind that persona of getting money, having all these women and fame and power and all of that, when Kendrick still stayed true to who he was growing up, and that spiritual background, that storytelling background, that pure hip hop background. And he's come from a background of respect, not money and power. So that's something I can relate to, because every time that I've gotten lost in money and power, I've ended up, falling in some way, shape, or form. I've been failing in some way, shape, or form in a way that I don't need to. I've put myself in positions and experiences in which I don't need to experience and being positioned in the first place. But I've only done that for materialistic reasons. But also, that's the reason why I picked Bob Marley, because his music is very simplistic. It's happy. It brings people together. It's good vibrations. And that's why he was killed, because that's the type of energy that he brought to the world, was positivity, simplicity, bringing people together under love, under respect, have nothing to do with money, had nothing to do with fame. The money did help him. The fame did help him in a way, but that's not something that he leaned upon. That wasn't his crutch. His crutch was love and respect, and just being in tune with nature, being in tune with spirit.
And you can feel it with his music. Like, it's hard to, whenever you hear about Marley, it's like you just automatically getting a good vibe.
It's hard to be in an upset mood when you're listening to Bob Marley. My favorite song is definitely Stir It Up. Stir It Up is my shit, bro. I love Stir It Up. Ever since I was a kid, my dad, he had the CD to this. The CD to this is a little different than the record. The record is a lot more bigger on like the acoustic and like live. I think the CD's a little different though. I could be wrong.
My mom had the CD.
Yeah.
That's how I grew up listening to it, was on the CD.
The vinyl is way different than streaming too, as well. Like streaming, there's more added instrumentals. Like you can tell that was more studio based. This sounds more like we're in the campfire. Like we just have the instruments that we have, and we're just gonna play music together. Right. But no, I appreciate my dad getting me hip to him at a very young age. We always used to listen to Three Little Birds all the time, and that would just bring such a great vibe, especially looking back and all the things that he was going through. I'm glad that his music was able to bring us together and bring a lot more positive experiences, especially, going through that divorce and not having my mom around, and foreclosure, and sometimes not being able to pay the bills at times. He raised 3 kids by himself until my stepmom came into the picture. So it's like definitely a lot of good moments looking back on this album, looking back on these songs. And I mean,
that's the power of music, man. It take you back to another space.
Yeah, bro, you gotta. I just muted my mic, I think. Did I mute my mic? Oh, okay. Yeah. I turned it down. Oops. So Is This Love is great. Could You Be Loved? Three Little Birds. Buffalo Soldier. Get Up, Stand Up, Stir It Up. Satisfy My Soul. Shot the Sheriff. Yeah, bro. This is the.
I can't pick a favorite on that.
God. Like, Jamming. Oh my God. This is such a great album. I need to listen to this a lot more. For sure. But Stir It Up is
favorite.
Yeah, Stir It Up for sure is the top song on this album. What's the best song on that album?
On Kendrick's?
On Kendrick's. Dude, that's hard. That's hard for sure.
I'll say my favorite is the Don't Let Me, or Sing About Me When I'm Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst. That's my favorite.
I can't really disagree with that. That is, it's a phenomenal song, bro. And how he was rapping on the different perspectives of people and everything.
That's what I was trying to say. And I didn't catch that until like my 5th time listening to it. I'm like, hold on.
First one was his friend. The second one was just a random girl on the street and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, bro.
And I'm like, this is his experiences or these everybody else's? Like I said, the 5th, I'm like, oh, this is from a female, because he's talking about like the prostitute woman.
Yeah,
and all
he was
that.
like singing about me, like.
Yeah, so it's just crazy. Yeah, but that's the best one on there for sure.
For sure.
But they're all bangers though.
Is that your favorite album of him?
Of his?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
That one, and then I'll say that one, and then the Mr. Morales. But this is my favorite for sure.
Mr. Morale grows on me every day, bro, because I loved it when it first came out, but now, like, especially after the beef and everything, it's just, it brought his personality into like a lot more into the limelight, like on the level that we never seen before, and the level of vulnerability. Like Mother I Sober is the most important song on there, because that's where he openly talks about trauma, generational trauma, and freeing himself from that, because he ends it with affirmations. He ends it with a prayer in a way.
He was very vulnerable on that
Super
album.
Vulnerable, bro.
Like,
and it has a hit. It has hits on there.
Yeah.
But it wasn't intended for super high quality radio play or commercial success. Like, it didn't sell that much.
Still did good. Like, I think it was on Amazon Prime. He had a concert in Paris and stuff like that. Like,
hip hop album of the year, I think.
Yeah, like I said, but to do that, but then your intention is not club bangers and all that. Like, you want to actually speak on something that's going on within you or just going on in the world, is good that you got that far with not trying to be like a Drake, like you said, materialism and all that. Yeah. So I think that was very good.
And along with diet and spirituality, music is something that we have to teach our kids in a way of positivity, because the music now, I'm a huge hip hop guy. Hip hop means so much to me. My dad got me on hip hop as long as I could remember music. Hip hop has always been there. That and 60s, 70s, 80s soul, R&B,
Man, I love old school
Yeah,
music.
bro, I love it, man. If anything, I don't have enough of it, but in terms of vinyl, but yeah, bro, and that's integral too. Soul is integral to hip hop, especially older hip hop, because sampling, and I love sampling, bro. That's one of the main reasons why I'm getting into producing and learning production is sampling and the MPC and learning from the likes of a Dr. Dre or a J Dilla or DJ Premier or an Alchemist and stuff like that, because their use of sampling, Kanye West, their use of sampling is insane, and I love it because it brings you back. Not only does it bring you into the world of hip hop, but it brings you back into the world of soul as well, because automatically you hear that sample, you're like, oh, where's this from? Where's this sample from? And now you're learning two different genres rather than just hip hop. You're learning soul as well. That's why and there's a couple of samples on Good Kid, Mad City that I love, like Money Trees, the reverse sample. Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, that sample is crazy as well.
Those are all samples?
Yeah, those are samples.
I swear I don't be knowing what samples are until it's like I didn't know if a song was sampled until somebody told me.
Well, if you go to Story Stitchers tomorrow, I'll be there. I can definitely show you some songs because mostly I DJ.
Okay.
So like I'll be on the computer, I'll be able to show you certain songs and not how you do it. I mean, I can show you how to do it a little bit to the way that I know of, but like there's a shout out to TrackLib on YouTube. TrackLib is a channel, but also it's a service where you can get samples for free. They're cleared samples. You can integrate that into your music, but they do these sample breakdowns where they take different music, different songs that have iconic sampling in there, and they pretty much break it down, like how they sampled it and how they put it together in the song. It's insane, bro. Like I'll show you after this.
I was watching the Wu-Tang show, the one on Hulu.
Yeah.
And it showed how the guy, I forgot his name.
RZA?
RZA. How he sampled, like that creative process to hear one
RZA's
thing.
nice with it too. RZA's legit.
Who's your favorite out of Wu-Tang?
My favorite out of Wu-Tang. I love Raekwon. I'm not gonna lie. I love Raekwon.
Raekwon is my favorite.
Raekwon is like,
and Jizza. But Raekwon is just like, he got that,
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like the heavy New York accent.
I don't know what it is about New York.
The aggressive bars too. East Coast rap is my favorite rap.
Something about New York. With the hip hop, with the spirituality and all that, it's just something about New York. It's like so much energy and good energy there. I just love New York. Like,
yeah, bro. I still want to live in New York for a period of time, not for the rest of my life. No,
I would definitely want to go there.
But I would love to live in New York for even if it's just for a year. Yeah. You know, I lived in Puerto Rico for 2.5 months, and it felt like an eternity.
I bet, yeah,
bro. It felt like an eternity,
man. Whenever I was in St. Lucia for those 2 weeks. It felt very long, but in a good way, not a bad way. But I just felt like I've been here for a minute. Like
you're just enjoying yourself. You're immersing yourself with that culture and that lifestyle, and I love it, man. And I'm excited to do that in New York whenever that happens. But now, like this year, especially this summer, it's time to like really step it up and put that into gear and make sure that's a possibility.
I feel you.
So. Did I already ask you like I did ask you the importance of like a retreat. So where are places that you would love to take a retreat towards? It can even be towards like a city environment. Like I can treat living in New York for a year as a retreat, but not just based like on a spiritual retreat, like more like not business, but if I go to New York, I'm gonna be like locked in. Like you have to be locked in New York. I'm not going up there just to chill and stuff like that. Like I'm going up there to create, make connections. Like it'll be like a creative retreat, I guess you would say. Connecting with entities up there, because the amount of creative entities in New York is insane. LA too, but LA has a weird vibe to it. I don't know.
Where would I like to go? For a retreat, if I'm speaking out the country, I would like to go like Ethiopia or Egypt. I think I'd definitely like to go there just because I want to feel the energy in that place.
Egypt, especially with the pyramids and just being right there in the Middle East area too, because that's where humanity started.
Right.
Just getting that vibe as well. It's just like
breathe it in.
Crazy.
Because how I felt in St. Lucia, like I felt like tapped in out there, like just on a whole different level.
Dude, the amount of people that were like openly spiritual in Puerto Rico was crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Crazy. Now there were some people that contradict their spirituality down there for sure. Like now nobody's perfect, but the openness of spirituality and how it can be talked about down there, like is insane.
Yeah,
it's insane. Like I was talking about spirituality with a transgender down there. Like I would never like that conversation up here
would have never happened.
I wouldn't say it would never happen. It would just be go about it. We'll go about it a little differently because here it's a lot more scrutinized. Down there, it's just like it is what it is. Yeah. It is what it is. Like we still look at you as a normal person, but also like you still have boundaries too.
Right.
Like there are some people in that community. I'm not going to touch on it too much, but that don't really know boundaries.
Right.
Or don't have any limits. They're a lot more in tune with their boundaries down there.
Yeah.
Because like I said, they're more open to talk about spirituality, and with spirituality comes discipline. With spiritual practice comes discipline. And that's why in a world that's full of convenience, it's kind of hard to really integrate that because spirituality isn't built on convenience. It's not convenient at all. Like if anything, it's like you're going to find yourself thrown into the fire.
Yeah. For the better, but you're going to go through it.
Yeah, for sure.
But in St. Lucia, like how you said, just is more open and like just the people are more positive. Like whenever you walk up to somebody in St. Lucia, you like say like blessed love instead of like good morning or something like that, because they understand the vibration in the words. So it's say blessed love, or whenever you leave somebody, you say guidance, stuff like that instead of bye, because when you say bye, like that means you're never going to see them again. So just little things like that. And how people operate, they always spreading positivity, always smiling, like skin glowing, just on a whole different type of time. Like they could be going through something, but you would never know, because whenever they interact with people, it's just they're being positive because they want to have a good experience with you.
Well, that's what happens when you're in the sun too. Like,
man, it's hard to have a bad day for me whenever the sun is out and I'm just like soaking it up. And if I could be like that,
you about to do that too after this. So.
Yeah, I love being in the sun. I think so. Cyrus means sun in Persian, so I think that might have to do with like my connection to the sun. But I just like summertime is my favorite time of the year, and I was born in September, so that's more like autumn-ish. But summertime, I just love being out in the heat. It's just soaking up the sun. There's something about it that just charges me in a way. So yeah, when I was in St. Lucia, like I got darker. Did a lot of grounding, like on the beaches in the sand, and just feeling the energy from the ocean and all that. It was magical.
I'm blessed to hear that. I was looking up my name, my meaning.
Well, I would admit, yeah.
So in Scottish, it means settlement on the hill. So I'm on the top of the hill. I'm on the top of the mountain. But no, bro, that Japan is one place I want to go because Japan, India, just places that are in tune with Eastern philosophy for sure. Sorry, there's gnats in here because we just got done cutting fruit yesterday. So
and my juice smells
true. Japan for sure, because that's another big place in terms of Buddhism. China was big too, but China is an authoritarian government, so they're trying to exterminate anything spirituality, because in authoritarianism, government has to be the highest authority.
Okay.
So get rid of God, get rid of anything else that interferes with government authority.
Okay.
So that's why it's kind of a little like I would love to go
America.
to China.
No.
In a way, yeah, for sure. In a way, it's just done completely different here. It's done through not just government, but it's done through corporations and media. When media is owned by 96% of media is owned by 6 people.
Right.
So it's Over here, it's done by the illusion of freedom, which will lead to authoritarianism. You know, enough illusion like you can easily come in under the noses of people without getting recognized.
Yeah.
In China, it's just like we're putting the foot down. We don't care. But it's been like that over in China for a long time compared to here. Like here, you got to do it slowly, but surely.
Yeah.
But all weapons formed against those that are in tune with their spirituality, in tune with their power, shall perish, no matter where you're at. So
I really like Japan. Like I love the food. Like Japanese food is one of my favorite types of food. But like the culture, like I just like the respect that they have there. Like they have like me and you would be friends, but if you were an elder, there's different words that you say to friends than you do to elders, just out of respect. Or like the fact that they bow, like I like that. Or like whenever they come into a house, they take off their shoes, like they don't wear outside shoes inside the house. Just little things like that is more like they're more connected, and I just love that out there.
for sure.
And always happy, like they always, and then their voices, they just always be in an upful mood or a respectful type zone.
Yeah, I would love to. Like, I definitely plan on going there for sure, to see the beauty, the cherry blossom trees as well, the mountains in the background. I'm a huge mountainous type of guy, bro. Like if there's mountains, count me in, bro.
I love
like
the views.
That's nature's city. That's nature's skyscraper.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So like anywhere where there's mountains and I can hike and just get the views, man. Like that's why I'm adamant on taking a road trip out west sometime this year.
Nice.
Just to get into the mountains and just enjoy that.
Yeah, nature is so, it puts you in the present. Like I was talking about earlier, the present is when you're in nature, you're just hearing the birds and you just connected and all that. Or you hug a tree, you put your hand on the tree, is just like you feel very good. And it's hard to be scatterbrained when you're out in nature.
Facts.
And just observing it, or like just watching the bees or just hearing the birds chirp is nice and very soothing. So I love being out in nature. I do my grounding all the time.
So what were, in terms of, let's keep it on the retreat and like traveling, what are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned during traveling and during those retreats?
I learned that pretty much anywhere outside of America is different, first off. But I learned that everything is opposite. Like they drive on the right side of the road. Over in
St. Lucia they do?
Yeah, like on the opposite side. And then the wheel is on the opposite side of the road.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, crazy. But you also get a lot of benefits from traveling because we operate on a different side of the brain in America than everywhere else does. So
we're a lot more scientific over here.
Yeah, we're more materialistic. Yeah, we're more logical, but over there, they're on a whole different side. Like we read left to right, in other places like Japan, they read right to left. So you're tapping on a whole different side. But being out there, I learned that as far as eating wise, when I was out there, I saw like no fat people.
Puerto Rico too, bro. The amount of beautiful people I saw, like, bro,
glowing,
beautiful people.
Yeah, like I straight was like people. Like I was like melanated people are so beautiful. Like
yes, very true.
Looking like, and then it's like
all people are beautiful, but
but it's something about that.
Yeah, the melanin is just like it hits different
when you shining and clear, and just put on some shea butter or something. Like you just glistening. Like it's just something about this. Like wow, like y'all are beautiful. Like as I got older, or wiser. I don't like to say older. As I got wiser, I start to appreciate. More aware. Yeah, I started to appreciate melanin or blackness, which you would call it, just more, because we, growing up a certain way, I've been told like not to embrace it, but then when you leave the country, it's like that might be all you see. Like in St. Lucia, it was no like Caucasian people there. It was only people that looked like me, or the people that were Caucasian. They were like on the hotels, the more touristy side. But to be somewhere like there's nobody but that looks like me, but then they're also on the positive side of things, and then nature and all that was just way better for me. So that was the main difference I noticed. Just the difference in mindset there was big for me. And then even you appreciate things more when you leave America, because on the mountain that I was at, it had like 15 acres of land, and it was like a legit mountain. So to get to the bottom of the mountain,
not one of them fake mountains.
No, no, like they're like immersed in the, like it's a community in the mountain. Like if you were to go to the mountains, you would think that it would be like remote, like nobody lives out there. Type thing. Okay. But when you actually go, it's like houses.
Dude,
and
that's how Puerto Rico was too. It was insane.
Right, but just surrounded by nature, so you're not in the concrete jungle no more. There's no roads out there, like it's silence. And what I'm saying is, to get to the bottom of the mountain, to get to the top is like a 5-minute drive. And I walked it; it was like 30 minutes. But just that drive to get up there, because they don't have roads to get to the mountains, like you have to make your own road. So just little stuff like a street. Yeah, outside of America is way more important and harder to get than in America. So just little stuff like that. Or a lot of people on the retreat were like complaining about the lack of hot water, because out there they get all their water from like the spring or the rain, so it's not hot; it's just lukewarm. So little stuff like that. You might get like frogs in your room or like a roach or something like that, but it's like you're in nature, so that's what you're gonna get. So but in America, you might see like a roach or a frog, you might freak out or think it's dirty, but it's like, no, this is nature, and we are a part of it. So to them, it's like it's natural because we're in the mountain.
Bugs in the house up here in America, we're so automatically kill it. Yeah, like I'm one of the guys that advocate like, hey, let's put it in the jar or put it in a napkin and try to take it outside.
Right. And I had a moment of like, I had to check myself out there, because I was like, I had a frog come into one of the rooms, and then it was a roach that came into the rooms, and I was quicker to kill the roach than I was the frog. But I'm like, why is that? Because like I said, in America, once you see a bug, it's automatically dirty, no, kill it on the spot. But you see a frog, is like, it has life, it has a heartbeat, so you wouldn't want to kill a frog. But I'm like, no, they're both the same things. They both have their own intelligence and stuff like that. So it was like a checking on myself. I had to get out of that American mindset, and I was just like, let's just not kill it, let's just take it outside. Because like I said, we're surrounded by nature, so that's what's going to happen.
I'm glad we're having this conversation and really just putting in perspective the importance of traveling, and the experiences. It's not just trying to get out, and I'm against. It's good to get that vacation, and it's good to get out of the environment and the lifestyle that you've been living. But I don't agree with the overall perception of vacations, of getting away and just to get away. I want to travel to learn lessons,
a purpose,
and to build life experiences, to become more whimsical, to become more peaceful, to get in tune with Earth in many different ways, and the many different ways that Earth likes to express itself through the land. Earth loves to express itself differently in Puerto Rico than it does here in America, because the people in Puerto Rico are more allowing of nature to flourish than it is up here. If anything, we see ourselves as experiencing nature. In other cultures, we are part of nature. Yeah. So if we are just merely experiencing nature, we're automatically putting ourselves in a mindset that we are separate from nature. While in other cultures, especially ancient cultures, we're adamant on that we are nature, that we are we are an integral part of nature. We're just conscious of it. Yeah. And that we make conscious decisions, and that we can connect with nature and through nature in a completely different way as animals do.
That's funny you said that, because I was watching the Terrence Howard and Joe Rogan video the other day.
I've heard some snippets. He's really talking the shit on that.
Watch it. I just watched it yesterday. It's 3 hours long, but he was talking about what hemoglobin looks like in our blood, and chlorophyll, which is plant blood, what that looks like. And the structure, like all of the nutrients and all that, are the same. But at the base, we have iron in ours, and they have magnesium. So he's like, what's the difference? Does iron have consciousness and magnesium doesn't have consciousness? Like, what is the difference between us? Like, because like I said, it's all the nutrients, all the what's the stuff on the elements? All the elements are literally the same structure, but the only difference, like I said, is the magnesium and the iron. So it's like everything is alive, but because we can't hear the plants or we can't speak to plants, we think that we're outside of it. Like while we eat animals, if you could talk to an animal, you probably would not eat that animal because it's going to beg you for his life. If you could talk to a tree, you wouldn't cut down a tree because it'd be like, hey, I'm alive. Like, don't cut me down. So when you are tapped in with nature, like
if you do cut me down, make sure you plant another seed,
right? Or at least ask me, like where I was in St. Lucia, they talk to the plant before they take from it. Like, those trees as well have lived longer than us. Yeah. So if anything, they experience a lot more of life and have a lot more intelligence than we do. Yeah. And one thing I've learned, I forgot, I think it was Michael Pollan. I was listening to him on Joe Rogan a couple months ago, and he was talking about how the roots in the soil is used as a medium to communicate with different trees. Yeah.
And they let them know about different predators. Yeah. Hunting different plants and stuff like that. So it's like a tree can communicate with another tree to let you know, like, hey, there is a predator that's willing to extract certain things from this tree that could be detrimental towards the life of the tree. And it's just like maintaining the life in the forest through communication in different ways that we possibly can't understand. Yeah. And animals help with that communication as well.
Yeah. Speaking of Japan again, you know how they have those bullet trains? Yeah. Fast ass trains? Yeah. The way that they came up with the best routes is they took the mycelium and they like gave it, like they had a map of the city. Yeah. And like were different. They had a maze, but it was in the map of the city. And the mycelium had chosen its own way to get to the end of the map. But why they did is because at first they had an original route for the bullet trains to take, but the mycelium had a way more efficient way to get to the end point than they already had made up themselves. So that intelligence already knew how to get there faster. So now that's what they're based off of, is the route the mycelium took. Because at first it was slower. But now it's more efficient, on just the mycelium, the connection. That's why when you eat the shrooms, you tapped in, that intelligence just comes into you.
Yeah, bro. Anytime you get on any type of psychedelic, it's just like you're automatically tapped in. But especially with psilocybin mushrooms too. Like that's like when I feel the most connected.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but I had another question. We're talking about fasting. You're going into the 40-day fast. Is it 90-day fast? 90-day fast of just raw foods. What is the importance of cleansing and fasting that, you know, Western culture here, especially in America, doesn't know about just yet? Because I tell people about fasting all the time, but I know that I'm not the utmost knowledgeable of it. I've done it a couple of times. I've never done like a 40-day fast. I've never even gotten to 10 days. I think the most I've ever fasted was like 3 or 4 days without any food, which is still pretty good, especially with me being an athlete. Yeah. But I wish to take that to a higher extreme as well.
I love fasting. I fast I'll do a no eating fast every week. So like I'll pick like a Wednesday to where I won't eat anything. I'll just drink. But the benefits of fasting is, so after let me start off in the beginning. To eat is very taxing on the body, like takes a lot of energy.
Yes, for sure.
So like when we get family get-togethers and they be like, oh, I got the itis, like I need to go to sleep because I ate so much. So what your body is telling you is that you've put so much food in me and it's going to take so much energy for me to digest this food that I have to knock you out.
Yeah, people don't realize that just because you're not moving around or actually moving your body's still at work. Like
all the time.
Your body still has to work to pump blood through your system. Right. It still has to work with your nervous system to let you know the certain senses, digestion, all of that, bro. Yeah, producing hormones and different chemicals going on in the brain as well. So it's like people really, and breathing is a perfect example. Like you don't have to think to breathe.
Right.
Like your body is automatically working to do that. You don't have to think about this stuff.
Right. So that's how taxing eating is.
Yeah.
So when you don't eat and your body doesn't have to work to digest things, it'll be like, okay, no food is coming in. What do we do now? So then it'll start tapping into your fat storage cells. Ketosis is what they call it. Like people got the keto diet and all that. That's where it comes from. But so after 3 days of no eating, your body goes into autophagy, which means self-eating, I believe. And so if you have like any cancerous cells or like your liver needs some work or your thyroid needs some work, it'll go into those different spots and it'll discard all of the bad parts of the cells and it'll start regenerating newer cells, new healthier cells. So that's all it's doing is just repairing your body. And so like I said, it starts at 3 days though. And then the longer you do it, the more you start growing more new stem cells and all that. So that's why it's so important. Like a lot of religious people, they fast and they always talk about you fast to get closer to God.
Yes.
But really it's you fasting and then you get the mental clarity. So that's why you get closer to God, because there's nothing.
You're allowing the space and the capacity to get closer to God now.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then that's even why in ancient times in Kemet, they would, like whenever they were allowing like the Greeks and all that to come in and study with them, they would have to fast for 40 days just to prove that they could get this knowledge, because
Kemet was the name
of Egypt.
Yeah. That was the name of Africa before it was Africa.
Oh, I thought it was just Egypt. But
I think it was Africa in general. I could be wrong.
No, it was
could
just
be wrong.
It just
I know Egypt for sure.
Yeah, it means land of blacks or community of blacks. That's what it means. So, they would have to do a 40-day fast just to learn the knowledge. But why is that? Because, like I said, when you're empty, you're now open to receiving this information. If you're trying to give me the secrets to the universe and I'm eating a heavy diet, I might not understand it. As well as if I'm empty and I'm more open, my mental is more able to understand this information that you're giving me.
Yeah.
So that's why, like I said, you get the mental clarity, you feel good and all that. A lot of people think you're gonna die when you fast, but no, it's the furthest from it. You're like I said, you're repairing your body. So that's how great fasting is.
Yeah.
So that's why, like I said, with this 90-day fast, is just getting more in alignment, cleansing my body, working on different organ systems, and just getting closer to self so that I can get more clarity on things. Because like I said, I know things, I know I should do things, but like I said, whenever I'm eating right, I just don't have to think about it. I just know what to do, or like I won't second guess myself.
Right.
So I'm more open to it, open to receiving and doing things.
Okay.
So that's why fasting is so important.
So to people that have never fasted or cleansed before, what will be a guide, like a 101 tip
of fasting?
Yeah.
I would say you could do two things. You could do intermittent fasting first, which is just...
I do that a lot. That's great.
Yeah, with just eating from 12 to 8. Or you could do it to where you just don't eat for 12 hours. So like say if I ate at 10 p.m., don't eat again until 10 a.m. So you don't have to do the 12 to 8. You could just, like I said, not eat for 12 hours a day and got that 8-hour window. Or you could do just a 1-day fast where you're just doing it on juice and see how, or juice or water, and see how you feel. So you always do baby steps, because I started for like 3 days fasting, and then I did 7, then 21, 30, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So always, like I said, either you can do the intermittent fasting or you could do a whole day. And for people watching, I noticed the research shows that women struggle more than men on intermittent fasting. So be mindful for that, women.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think women just need more nutrients than us.
Yeah, there's a lot more biologically going on.
Yeah, for sure.
Within women, for sure.
Because
we're built different for sure. Like we have to realize that we're not built the same. Some people like to try to put us in that same boat. I'm like, no,
we use two different sides of the brain. Like speaking of women, I had this conversation with with one of my friends. Who do you think came first, the woman or the female, the man or the woman? I'll give my perspective.
Go ahead.
It's kind of like what came first, the chicken or the egg.
Yeah.
But I'll say just biology, off our biology.
Women is the creator, though. Women are the creator.
Yeah. So women have breasts and for milk and all that.
Yeah.
They have nipples to feed the child. Why do we have nipples? Like,
Men?
what's the purpose of our nipples? There's nothing. There's no purpose.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And then we have penis, which is just not an inverted, a vagina.
The clitoris.
Yeah. So why is it like that? And then when you're in the womb, you're a female until like a few months before you get born, and then the X chromosome turns into a Y. So everyone starts off female in the womb. Then you become male, like right before you get born. Not right before, but closer to that time. And then that's that way. But then even how we say woman or man or female and male, it's like, my name is Cyrus. So a nickname for Cyrus would be Cy. So wouldn't male just be like a nickname for female, or woman, or would man be a nickname for woman? Like one came from the other. Like Cy comes from Cyrus, man comes from woman, male comes from female. You know what I'm saying? So what's your opinion?
I don't think I really had an opinion on it. I don't think it really mattered to me, honestly. I was just focused on, one thing I really just focused on was like, I guess having a lot more respect for women and understanding how different they are and respecting the differences in men and women. And also I've been more immersed on like debunking the culture that we're building now of this man versus woman mentality and everything, and degrading
American
both
mindset.
of them. Yeah, man. It's like, bro, what are we doing? It's like we have to maintain the divine masculine, the divine feminine, and the balance between both, within and without.
Right.
And as of now, we're not really, and that takes us back to the music. You know, music lately, especially hip hop music, has been degrading towards false masculinity and also degrading femininity as well. And, you know, just calling women bitches and everything. I don't like to use that word because of how we painted that word, the perception behind that word. And I don't ever want to refer to anybody as that word, especially women as well, because we got to have a lot more respect. And I grew up in a time, not in a time, but I grew up with a mindset that wasn't the best towards women because, you know, my mom wasn't around a lot. So automatically I painted this picture of, I'm not going to say hatred, but a distaste for women because of the trauma that I went through. And I had to learn through that. I had to go through certain success and certain failures as well. And now I'm at a point where I'm celibate. I'm not trying to, you know, just throw myself out there, because if I were to throw myself out there, simultaneously I'm having this viewpoint and this perspective of women that doesn't empower them at all. If anything, you're looking at them as just a means to an end. And that's not that way that we should look at anybody, especially women.
I have a question for you, because you're real big into hip hop and the history of hip hop.
I am.
So I had this question for someone else, and they gave their answer, but I want to know yours. So where do we go? How do we go from like the Charlie Wilsons, or the I Love You songs, the Joes, the Kims, like people singing their heart out to women, to, like you said, degrading women? Where did that shift happen? Because like I really like 80s and 70s music, because women, like when they sing and all that, like it puts me in a certain mood or whatever. Like,
it's not overly sexualized.
Yeah, it's not, but it's just like professing your love for someone, a woman specifically. But then like, how do we go from that to like opening the door for women to now closing the door on women, like in the music? When did that shift happen, do you think? Because like I said, you know the history. So when did we go from that to that?
Many different things. I think it has a lot to do with the upbringing and individual consciousness, because there are certain ways of life that have lasted for centuries in a way that, you know, when women weren't able to vote until a certain period of time. I don't know when exactly. I think it was around the 20s, but we always looked at women as property as well, let alone slaves. And that mindset has to change from within. We have to realize ourselves before we realize anything else. And I think it's just it's a reflection of the amount of respect that we hold as men, and we are feeling this toxic masculinity, something that doesn't even, you know, I'm not gonna say it shouldn't exist, but it doesn't make sense at all. And to the point where we're automatically degrading so many things, including women, because we have this toxic trait. But also, and especially in hip hop, when we talk about, you know, there is that section of hip hop that has grown in the majority of hip hop nowadays, where it's focused on materialistic things. There is actually an agenda behind that. And I think it was Busy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony. He talked on the radio show about how a group of artists and executives got in this meeting and they discussed the future of hip hop, because hip hop was, when it first came out, it was about empowerment. It was about having fun. It was talking about real issues, talking about the streets, the real issues in the streets, not glorifying the streets, but like, this is where I came from. We need to do something about it. And now it's glorifying the street. It's glorifying shooting up the block. It's glorifying the chains, the money, the clothes, glorifying, you know, sex and everything, and drugs and all that.
So that's what they talked about in the meeting?
In the meeting, it was just about, you know, we have to shape, hip hop is such a medium to shape black consciousness. It was being used in such a positive manner. That's why I love A Tribe Called Quest, because that music is overall positive. It's fun. It's hip hop that makes me want to learn some things. It's hip hop that I want to play at a barbecue or a get together that spreads love and spreads happiness, which I'm very grateful that my dad showed me A Tribe Called Quest, that he was a huge fan of and still is to this day. But there is an overarching agenda to manipulate hip hop, because it's such a powerful medium to influence the black community. Now it's such a powerful medium to influence all of humanity, because hip hop is that shit. Like we can't, let's not front. Like, hip hop is one of the greatest genres of music ever created, in my opinion. I can't go as far as say it is the greatest, because soul just, it's soul, obviously. But I would say it's more of an agenda mixed with people and unbalanced individuality and the perspective of themselves and perspective of the world. So it's many different factors, but those are the two main things. It's just, we're tainted from within, but also the system is tainted as well. And when tainted people and a tainted system come together, you know, they're just fueling off of each other, and they're fueling negativity and desensitizing and sexuality, sexualizing everybody. And bro, it's a double-edged sword, in my opinion. Because
I swear I'll be just listening to old school music, and I'm just like why are we not like still there?
We can do that. We can do that with hip hop. It's been done with hip hop. Like, Tupac has shown it. A Tribe Called Quest has shown it. Soulquarians showed it, whether it be The Roots, whether it be Erykah Badu, whether it be Jay Dilla and bro, I can't believe but yeah, let me say what you're gonna say. I just have to look up this
I don't know if it's because I don't listen to a lot of rap from like the 70s and the 80s and 90s. So that's why I just feel like it was more so on the lovey-dovey side of music. Cause like
Slum Village. That's what I was looking for. Slum Village.
I've heard of that. So like I said, that might just be my perspective because that's just what I gravitate towards back then. But they might have been talking like that back in the day. I just feel like I don't really see
listen
80s
to 80s
music.
listen to 80s
degrading
hip-hop.
women and all that. It's more like I said, it's more talking about what they went through and like the struggle and all that. Versus now we're still talking about the struggle, but now we've added the degrading the women versus I want to be your man type vibes.
Well, also you got to look at the music industry now and what the industry is built off of. It's built off money, fame, and power. It's built off these illusionary things that if you get stuck to them and focus on them too much, you know, your life is going to reap the consequences of that. And you're going to paint this false sense of identity off of that. That's why, again, bring it back to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. That's why it was such a breath of fresh air to listen to an album like that wasn't talking about the things that we hear all the time in hip hop nowadays, which is the money, the sex, the drugs, all of that. It takes us back into self-empowerment, connecting with the community, spirituality, growth and improvement, and also, you know, sensitivity and vulnerability. Yeah. And we don't talk about that enough as well, because there's so much of a mask that has been put upon people in hip hop in general, because like I said, there's a certain agenda behind it. And if you go with that agenda, you'll get paid very, very handsomely, very beautifully. You get a vast amount of abundance, but also in turn, you also compromise your dignity. You compromise who you are. You compromise your spirituality and who you are as a human being, your morals. Yeah. I remember everybody was going crazy when Ruby Rose put on her story, I'd rather have money than morals. And that's kind of the state of, you know, many different industries, the entertainment industry in general, but the music industry and hip hop specifically. Yeah. And it's sad to see that, especially with how many people we've lost to that type of lifestyle, especially in the Black community.
It's sad because it's like America just plays us so well. It's like, okay, you put us in the community, put us to the struggle. Now we speak on the struggle and we put in more empowerment, we're shedding more light on it and bringing more people together. And then you make shows about it. It's like they like make the trauma and then we all come together because of it, but then they profit off of it.
We can't see past the trauma.
Yeah.
That's why I love Mr. Morale, because he's releasing that trauma. Not only is he talking about trauma, but he's releasing that trauma. And he's like, I'm better than this trauma. I'm building something bigger, and I want to influence that upon my listeners as well. Influence that upon the hip hop community. And you can tell through the sales that it didn't fit the mold of what the hip hop community is now. If anything, it's going against the grain. But if returning back to the roots of what hip hop actually is now goes against the grain of what hip hop is today, then there's an issue. Because hip hop started as something and it morphed into something that it's not. It morphed into something that is destructive and built on an illusion.
Yeah, because I like listening to Wu-Tang and all them, but they was talking about like they wasn't glorifying it. They was like, this is just what I'm going through. So I can listen to old school rap, but rap now I don't listen to. But if it's from that time, I'll listen to it. Like I said, the Tribe Called Us, I'll listen to that type of thing. Yeah. But it's just something about that time just feel magical to me. Like I can see myself growing up like in New York in like the early 80s, late 80s, early 90s. Like just the music and like the way crazy. Everybody just up and people got speakers, boomer speakers. Like it's just that vibe. Or like the parties, like house party, like the movies, this stuff like that. It's like, this was a magical time. Like even though I wasn't born in that time.
We don't have social media or anything. Like social media is a huge component now in the streaming, because now you have everything on literally in the palm of your hand, at the tap of the screen. So it's like push of a button, like I'm now exposed to this music. That's why I had to get rid of Twitter too, is because the amount of exposure that I have on Twitter to such dehumanizing things. Like, I might get some well-known information and see something that's going on in the entertainment industry, and then out of nowhere there's porn, there's fights, there's people dying, there's just random things, that there's brain rot. It's just like and it's affected hip hop, but it's affected almost every industry and course of life at this point.
It goes back to that, why is a hamburger cheaper than a blueberry?
Yeah.
Why are the bad things easier for us to see than the good things?
Yeah. And that's one thing that we learned in oh, my Bluetooth is connected on this. Let me turn that off real quick. That's one thing why I preach, like, when you get into spirituality, you have to learn the truth of good and bad, and why the bad is so tempting. Why the bad can be tempting, because it's built on instant gratification. But when we get into peace, when we get into love, it takes effort to do that. It takes time to do that. It takes the ability to create space for that. For negative things, like at this point now, it's at the push of the button. It's so easy to do it. But that's why we go through this life experience. That's why we're going through the human experience, is to not take the easy path, and to learn that the best things in life have to be worked for. The best things in life have to be earned.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be earned in the way that we were taught through a 9 to 5. It's earned through finding our dignity, understanding who we are, and taking the time to do the inner work first before we do any type of external work, or really glorify the external work all the time.
So how did you get into your spirituality? Like, when was that? What year were you, or what
that was 2020. That was during the pandemic and getting out of the pandemic, honestly, because that finally gave me the point in life that I never had before, was slowing down and stopping where you're at and taking the time to think and perceive life differently, let alone myself. So I'm one of those people that is very grateful for the pandemic. That's very grateful for lockdown. No matter how much it sucked, not being able to play baseball at the time, not being able to go to the park and go out and meet friends. I still had my brothers around. I was still living with my parents at the time. So I was just chilling with my brothers. If anything, I got a lot more gratitude for my family and being around them. And I just built off that gratitude into myself. And I started to realize certain things that we were doing as an individual, as a family, and as the entire human community, that just didn't sit right with me. It didn't make any sense to me. So if anything, I had a lot of unanswered questions. And if anything, I just put myself up to question. And I constantly questioned myself. Why do I do this? Why do I think this way? Why do I have these certain ambitions in life? And also, how does life really work? Like you said, who is Cyrus? Who is Houston?
Yeah.
Like, what lies beyond the identifications that I've held on to so dearly in life? And since then, I've just put myself through certain tasks, certain experiences. Some I failed in, some I succeeded in, some that are still pending to this day. But honestly, I just had I reawakened something that has been dormant within me for a long time, and that has been the one to learn the truth of all things.
You're at that self-analysis.
Yeah, truth. And that's kind of the basis of my life. If I'm not being truthful, if I'm not learning the truth, if I'm not surrounded by the truth, if I'm not intaking the truth, then I don't want any part of it. And sometimes I give in to, the illusionary stuff. But at the end of the day, now, like, I really hold myself accountable to discipline, hold myself accountable to elevating my experiences through elevation of consciousness and understanding. The more that I expand myself through knowledge, through wisdom, through love, through respect, through blissfulness, and through prayer, through meditation, through music, through creativity, the more I allow the truth to surface. And I realized that the truth shows itself in many different forms and many different lights of life rather than just one simple way. Because the more you limit yourself, the more disconnected you are to the infinite, because the infinite has no limits at all. So if I continue to put limitations upon myself, the more I disconnect with source. So if anything, I try to integrate all parts of myself every single day. And again, some days I'm successful, some days I fail, some days I succumb to the temptation, some days I push off the temptation without any issue. And, it's just continuing to learn from my imperfections and be okay with my imperfections.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I got into it.
Nice. Yeah. So it seems like 2020 was a big year for everybody.
Yeah.
Because I'm thankful for what happened. Granted, I wish my grandfather was still in my life, but if he hadn't had...
He still is.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure. But if that hadn't happened, then I wouldn't be who I was today. I'd still be doing all things that I know I shouldn't be doing and all that. So I'm very thankful for that. He blessed me when he was here and when he wasn't here. So I give thanks for that.
Did you have any? I know you wanted to learn more about like mystic psychology and what I do. Was there any other questions that you had, Al?
Yes. When I was actually earlier, so should we be mixing Eastern and Western, or should we be like, no, Eastern is older?
We need to mix it. We need to, because out of all the things out of all the discoveries that we had in the past in terms of like ancient culture, we're still constantly learning because we're in an environment that is constantly changing. So there's always room to learn more. And Buddhism is a perfect example, and Hinduism too, because those ways of life, I'm not even gonna say religions, those ways of life, those perceptions of life, are always open to change because they recognize that change.
Right.
So any change that happens in science, whether it be in astronomy or physics to philosophy and psychology and stuff like that, they're willing to be open-minded with that. They're willing to integrate and change for that. It's nothing is ever set in stone in terms of Eastern philosophy. It's still constantly changing. In Taoism, that's one of the biggest properties is in the yin and yang, you have order and you have chaos. And the best way to grow in life is having one foot in order and one foot in chaos. It's not being totally chaotic. It's not being totally orderly. Because if you rely on only structure, then that's authoritarianism. If you rely totally on chaos, then that's anarchy. You have to have your foot in one and in the other.
Okay.
So you have this natural balance of order and tradition, but also innovation and new things and change in life. And whenever there are traditions that need to be changed and foundations that don't work, you have the necessary understanding and energy of chaos to come in to get rid of that. But if there's too much chaos, you have the necessary capacity to bring in new procedures, bring in new boundaries and new rules and laws to life. But there's always going to be a law to life, whether if you know it or not. I was reading the Buddha in Your Mirror, which I haven't finished yet. And I literally just touched on this. They literally just touched on this is the saying, are you familiar with Nam Myoho Renge Kyo?
What's that mean?
It's a saying, it's pretty much the devotion to the mystic law. It's whenever you say that, you're devoting yourself to the mystic law, and you can say that for anything. If you want a new job, if you want a new car, new relationships, elevate your consciousness, want to travel. If you have a certain desire or a want to elevate your life in any type of way, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo is a mantra or an affirmation that you can say that can automatically kick that into gear, whether if you understand it or not, whether if you know that it works or not.
Can you text that to me? I like to know about
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
Because I like I said, the spirituality is definitely something I want to put myself more into, but I gravitate more towards the Eastern side of things. It's just better. It's easier for me to grasp it if I'm learning it from the Eastern.
It's a lot more simple, and also it's not it's a lot more simple, but it's complex. It has the balance between simplicity and complexity.
And whenever
which I love that.
I love how you explained it, because I see a lot of people. I'd be like, sometimes we focus too much on our light, but how you said, you need the chaos, but then you need the order as well, and not just leaning towards one path, because it's the duality. You can't just think one way or be one way.
You can't fall into duality too much, because in Taoism specifically, it's all about transcending duality. Because when you transcend duality, you also transcend karma. You don't want to be stuck in the cycle of karma, because you essentially create your own karma. Yes, you are in the mercy of other people's actions and the actions that happen around the world, but karma is just that, it's action. So if I'm able to rise above my own karma, that means I'm in control of my own actions. If I'm in control of my own actions, that means I'm taking control of my own karma. And I'm not at the mercy of karma all the time.
Okay.
Now I can sway karma to my own liking. If I do something good, I expect something good back. However, I don't know how I'm going to get dealt with. I don't know what I'm going to receive in return.
Okay.
I just know the same vibrational energy that I put into the universe, I'm going to get back. I don't know how it's going to come back, though. That's why attachment is a huge talking point in Buddhism, and how you have to eradicate attachment, because you can't get attached to anything in life at all, because life is beyond your control. There's less control you have in life than you think. So don't get attached to anything in life, whether if you like it or not. No matter if you like what's going on in life, guess what? It's going to change. But if you don't like what's going on in life, guess what? It's going to change. This too shall pass. And that's what everything in life. So that's why we have to be grateful for everything that goes through our life, because it's bound to change. And we don't have control over that change. We have control how we adapt to it. We have control of how we navigate through it, but we don't have control of the change itself, because that is a constant of the universe. That's the law of the universe. That change is constantly happening.
Yeah. That detachment, I feel like I remind myself a lot on the detachment, and not trying to hold on to different things, but I feel like sometimes it's hard to explain that to people that are really deep in the American way of thinking, like,
because we're very narcissistic. A lot of us are narcissistic, for sure.
Yeah, I'll be like, I was explaining to one of my friends, and I was like, one of the ways that you receive things is not needing it. Like, if you really want something, then you have to not need it in order for you to receive it. And he was like, what you mean? Like, but why would you get it if you act as if you don't want it? And I was like, because the more you're chasing something, the more it's running away from you. But that detachment, like I said, is hard. Or even like if you're, detachment in a relationship, or moving to another space. You might move from Missouri to Ohio, just the detachment of leaving, but then explain that to other people, where other people want to hold you somewhere, or like, no, don't do that, like, this is bad. Like, I feel it's hard to express that to certain people, that the detachment of things is not a bad thing. But in America, we say that, like, no, you gotta hold on, like with money, you gotta hold on to it, like keep it to yourself. But then when you try to express, like, no, that's not the way, it's like, oh no, they don't agree with that.
A current has to be flowing,
right?
Money has to flow, and for money to flow, we have to let go of it when it's necessary. That's one of the biggest lessons I had to learn in terms of money, is that whenever I have to pay my dues toward anything, whether it be bills, whether it be paying somebody back, do it as soon as possible. Do it whenever you're ready. Do it whenever you have the capacity to do it, because the more you hold on to that, you're holding on to other people's energy as well. You're blocking energy. You're blocking abundance. And sometimes the best abundance is giving rather than just always receiving. You can't always receive, but you can't always give.
Right.
It has to be a balance of giving and receiving. There's a book I want you to read. I'm willing to... I'm sure I talked about this on different episodes as well. It's called The Kabbalion, and it touches on the Hermetic principles.
I have that.
You have it? Have you read it before?
Not all of it.
Please, bro. Please read that.
I haven't read all of it. I think I stopped at like the second law. The third law.
So you have mentalism, you have polarity, you have vibration. Mentalism, polarity, vibration. You have rhythm, correspondence, gender, and I'm missing one more. Mentalism,
you got polarity,
vibration, correspondence,
gender,
rhythm. Did I say rhythm already?
I don't think so.
Gender, and
seventh one.
Dang it! All right, I'm gonna look it up.
But no, I have it though. I just haven't.
Yeah, bro.
read it.
Please listen to that.
Well, I need to finish reading it.
Yeah, please listen or watch. Read it, bro. It's incredible. It's incredible read, and you get the ideology and the laws of the universe, and now a lot of things start to make sense. The law of rhythm popped up the other night. I think yesterday, actually. I was laying in bed. I was about to fall asleep. And then the law of rhythm just came into my mind because certain thought patterns were continuing. But I realized the time, certain things I would do, certain things I would eat that will fit in with that rhythm of thoughts or emotions. And it's like, how do I break this rhythm? Because you have the opportunity to neutralize yourself. You're a conscious being. And you have the ability to become conscious of your own thought patterns and rhythms of life and have the ability to change those rhythms. And like I said, go beyond your karma. How you go beyond your karma is by actively making decisions that benefit your karma. By taking control of your karma is taking control of your actions, taking control of your words, and taking control of your thoughts. That's what karma is. It's the accumulation of words, thoughts, and actions. So when you're able to do that, you're able to rewrite your story. We have a different level of consciousness that animals will. Animals aren't able to write their story all the time. They're stuck in this cycle of, I have to survive. We're stuck in that survival mode. Here with us, we have the ability to thrive and to create on a level that no other living being on this planet can do. Like, we are God personified as human beings. We are God living within its own creation, experiencing its own creation. However, we are not God in its entirety.
Right.
It'll be, and that's what it talks about in the Kabbalion. It talks about Shakespeare, how Shakespeare is the creator of all these characters, but it would be crazy for one of the characters of Shakespeare to claim that they are Shakespeare. However, it's not wrong to say that Shakespeare lives within every single one of his characters.
Right.
So the creator lives within every single one of its characters, Cyrus and Houston, but Cyrus and Houston is not the ultimate, is not the infinite in itself.
Right.
Because the infinite in itself is beyond comprehension. It's beyond form. It's beyond the laws of the universe because it is the creator of the laws. It is the law of the universe. So it's a little confusing because you realize that the universe is based on paradox rather than just logical thought. And also, the greatest philosophers and the greatest psychologists of all time, Carl Jung being one of them.
I have one of his books. And
even Jordan Peterson said, like, hey, if you are just a rational being and don't take the time to express your emotions or vice versa, then you're only operating on 50% of life. It would be crazy to listen to somebody that only operates on logic for all your opinions and all your advice.
Right.
Because they're only operating on 50% of life. They're only operating on the left brain and not integrating any part of their right brain. That's why balance, again, is integral. It's key to life. You have to harmonize yourself for you to fully experience balance and peace within yourself.
That's why I like Are you interested in Rastas or the Rasta community?
I'm interested in every community.
Of course,
in every community.
I forgot you. That's
Truth,
7. That's
bro.
7.
Truth is what I abide by.
Yeah, when you told me that you was 7 life path, I was like, okay, yeah, I see it for sure. But when they say the I and I, well, it's because they see the God or the Creator in each and every one of us.
That's what Namaste means. What? Namaste means I recognize the God in you.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought Namaste meant like peace or something.
Nah, Namaste means like I recognize God in you. I see the divine in you, and it's just the ultimate source of respect.
I swear I see Rastas as monks, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because like the monks always be in the mountains, and the Rastas always be in the mountains with they doing their own thing. But yeah, the whole I and I thing, like stuff like that. That's what I said. I feel like Eastern would be my way because that just resonates more so with me. I just like the old way of doing things,
and it's not built on war. It's not built on illusion, where some of the monotheistic religions do. All glory to the monotheistic religions too, because there's a lot of truth. There's a lot of truth found in Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. If you look into the Kabbalah tree of life, Kabbalah, I think, yeah. The tree of life in Judaism, which is goes deeper into Jewish mysticism. You get it's a rabbit hole for sure. Go deep into that for sure. It's kind of hard for me to just explain it without like a picture, explain it and everything.
I know it's like the circles with everything attaching to it.
Yeah.
I get it. Do you watch anime?
It has the 22 pathways too. But yeah, go ahead.
Do you watch anime?
I watch Dragon Ball.
That's it?
Yeah.
Dang,
I don't really watch TV. I just got the remote for that TV right there. I didn't have the remote, and we lived here for a month. Not a month, a year. So like we're making moves.
I only said it because in anime there's a show called Black Clover, and they have the Kabanyan on there. Like, so there's these they were elves, and these elves got killed. And so what they did was they took the tree of life or the kabaya, and they like put different stones in it. And then whenever they had a stone for each like circle that's on the kabaya, they were able to reincarnate so that they could punish the people that had killed them. But that's just like one example of it. Or like in Naruto, they show like the mudras and all that, and they show like the chi within the body, like what they call a chakra, but because it's a show, but the chi within them and how doing different hand signs you can manipulate it. So I ask because in animes they have a lot of ancient wisdom in it. And who creates animes? Japanese people. Like they have sometimes
not Avatar. Avatar is not anime though.
Yeah.
Technicality.
Technically, yeah. But even Avatar is the only person that can speak to his past lives, and they talk about chakras,
opening them up.
And he ever enters the avatar state, and like just all these animes, they speak so much on the truth.
The bad thing about that is that people could continue to go about that and keep that in anime rather than saying like, oh, this is like some real shit.
Right. They be like, oh, it's just a show. I'm like,
like with Dragon Ball, they talk about chi, they talk about auras and stuff like that. They talk about life force. And I'm like, bro, this is true. Like there's a spirituality to Dragon Ball beyond the violence in it, but Dragon Ball's that shit. R.I.P. Akira Toriyama, man.
Oh yeah, I saw that. A lot of people were devastated by that.
Yeah, to just touch on that, like he was kind of the godfather of anime. Like Dragon Ball changed everything in terms of how we view anime worldwide. Like Dragon Ball was the one that made anime worldwide, especially here in America.
I didn't really watch Dragon Ball. My first anime was like Naruto. I tried to watch Dragon Ball, but then there's too many versions.
Yeah, bro. Well,
like Dragon Ball Z Kai, Dragon Ball Z, whenever he's a child, like it's too many to keep up with.
Let's break it down. So Dragon Ball is the first. Dragon Ball is like the start of Goku's journey. It's based on Journey to the West. It's based on the novel. Sun Wukong is the main character. He's a monkey. And he takes this journey to I'd never read the full story, but they pretty much tell that story in Dragon Ball. It had no intention of being like martial arts and stuff until later on. It was just like a funny adventure type of anime, and then they start integrating martial arts and chi and like a lot more spiritual factors into it. And then Dragon Ball takes you all the way till the which Budokai Tenkaichi tournament was it? I don't know. I don't know which one it was. But it takes you all the way to that, and then Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z is like the most popular one. Dragon Ball Z is where Super Saiyan. Yeah. That's when you start like seeing like that's when powers start to get like OP. Like you can destroy planets and stuff like that. It still has that spiritual nature though. Dragon Ball Z is probably the most popular one for sure.
That's what I knew. There's
Dragon Ball GT, which is technically not canon at all. It's not canon at all because Akira Toriyama had nothing to do with it. And then Dragon Ball Z Kai, what that is, it gets rid of the filler. Which if you're
episodes,
if you're big in anime, you understand what filler is.
Yes,
it gets rid of all the filler, and also it changes the dialogue. So the original dub in Dragon Ball Z changed a lot of the dialogue from the manga in the original Dragon Ball series, and it was like a interpretation of it.
Okay,
mistranslation. Dragon Ball Z Kai takes it back to the original translation. And also like it brings back the cussing, it brings back all of that. So Dragon Ball Z Kai is the same thing as Dragon Ball Z. It just eliminates the filler and brings it back to its true dialogue. Dragon Ball Super is the story after Dragon Ball Z. But if you pay attention to Dragon Ball, the last couple episodes were a 10-year time skip. So you had the Buu saga, and then it skipped 10 years. Dragon Ball Super is within that 10-year time skip, which now it's approaching the time period of the end of Dragon Ball Z. So things are coming full circle, but sadly, Akira Toriyama isn't here to witness that. So hopefully his spirit continues to live on within the Dragon Ball community, continues to guide the direction of Dragon Ball. But as of now, Dragon Ball is kind of just in a weird place. It's in such a weird place right now because it's the biggest anime of all time. Like in
bigger
terms
than
of,
Naruto?
bro. Dragon Ball, I promise you,
I just don't watch it like
Naruto
that, so.
would not be in existence if it wasn't for Dragon Ball. Like One Piece would not be in. There's so many animes that has taken from Dragon Ball, and maybe have done Dragon Ball better. In terms of like story or character development and everything, but Dragon Ball was the mold.
Okay,
like there's so much respect.
Well, I'm gonna have to watch it then. Yeah, I'm more Naruto stuff, newer type.
Yeah, bro. Dragon Ball is a lot more like. If you were to say like, if you were to take like the strongest character from Naruto and pull him up against Dragon Ball, like bro, there's so many people in Dragon Ball that would demolish.
They can destroy planets in Naruto too, though. They're that powerful.
That's fine.
Have you watched Naruto? Like
I've seen a little bit, but that's fine. Like Goku shook he shook the realm of nothingness. He shook nothingness. How do you shake nothingness?
Stuff in Naruto that they do that you.
But they're talking about gods too, so I'm not here to compare. It's just like Dragon Ball got a little overly OP now. Like it's kind of hard to track like power levels and stuff like that.
I've been seeing stuff like the Beerus, the
Beerus
purple dude.
Beerus will absolutely destroy anybody in Naruto.
You gotta watch it though.
Bro,
you don't know that because you haven't watched it.
I do know this. I do, bro. I'm
gonna watch Dragon Ball. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna see. But
I have respect for Naruto, but my brother is a huge Naruto fan. But he'll tell you that Beerus will fuck anybody up in Naruto.
All right, I'm gonna have to watch Dragon
Ball.
And
I'm not just saying that because I'm a Dragon Ball fan. I'm just being, logical here.
I got you.
But yeah, no, like back to those hints of spirituality are everywhere. Like the Star of David, the true meaning of that is as below, as above, so below. It also is reminiscent of all the elements: earth, wind, fire, air, along with ether, which is space, which is the energy that we can't see. So there's a lot of symbolism in spirituality, and symbolism is such an integral part of humanity. It's something that has guided humanity, even in capitalism, even in the world today. We look at companies through their symbolism. When we see the symbol of a certain company, the logo of a certain company, we can tell you the energy behind it and our perception of the energy behind it.
Yeah.
Like whenever we see in the Black community, what's one of the biggest logos that we abide by? The Jumpman logo or the Nike logo.
Yeah.
We know the energy behind that.
Yeah.
Like that is so integral to the Black community now. And the Nike logo is one of the most recognizable logos of all time.
Yeah, don't even need to have the Nike on it. Just
the
the
Apple
swoosh.
one, the Apple logo is probably the most popular logo in all of human history in terms of like corporations.
I think it's funny how they took the bite out of the apple.
Yeah.
I always thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting because the Adam and Eve story and like the bite from the fruit of the apple of good and evil, and
nobody ever asked like, why is it a bite out of this apple?
Yeah,
or try to connect it. Like
essentially, you're taking a bite out of the curse that Adam fell upon. Is the curse of knowledge, and there's knowledge in here. There's good knowledge and there's bad knowledge on here. So it's like there's a whole connection, and the people that run the world are occultists. They're very spiritual people, but they use spiritual means in a negative light. Yeah, that's a conversation for another time.
That could be a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, for sure. And we're already approaching 3 hours, which is a record.
Give thanks.
Yeah. So honestly, to wrap it up, before we put information out there about how we can reach you and how we can stay connected with you, who would you say are like your mentors in terms of not only diet but spirituality as well? Because you were talking about Eastern philosophy and wanting to integrate that more into your life and integrate that into Western philosophy. So who are some people that you look to?
Okay, I'm start off with health, then I'll do spirituality.
Go ahead.
Health would be his brother. He's from St. Louis. His name is Yaki. You call him Yaki Awakened. Who else? Dr. Bobby Price, as far as health. Dr. Laila Africa.
Sebi?
Dr. Sebi, yeah. Because that's my first video ever was watching the Dr. Sebi video. And then spirituality, I'll say there's a brother on YouTube. His name is Brother Yosef. You should check him out. Who else do I look to for spiritual tips and information? Definitely Brother Yosef. Who else? Can I look at my phone?
Can you?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I'm just playing. Yeah, go ahead.
So I can see. Yeah, let me check it out. Dr. B Sears. That's funny. He just popped up on my timeline after I said that.
They're watching. They're listening.
They always are.
I don't care.
I be having this get to a point where they be in my thoughts. Like I'll just think of something and it'll pop up. I swear. I don't even have
that's
to
spiritual.
say nothing.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is one comment I will make, that spiritual warfare is a real thing and we must pay attention to it and we must be aware of it and protect ourselves out here and be disciplined. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah. Okay. So we got, his name is Infudishi Jehudi. Who else? It's a lot of African. I do a lot of African spirituality type things.
Yeah, please get me hip on that, bro. I definitely need to. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not as in tune with my African heritage as I should be.
Okay, I got you.
So I need to get in tune with that.
Dr. Kaba.
No, I don't want to be like Drake out here and uses his blackness for his own likeness. You feel me?
I feel you. C. Freeman L. Dr. Phil Valentine. And yeah, I'm gonna go with those for now. But yeah, like I said, my spirituality tips and research I do is more African centered. But I do, like I said, I like the yin and yang. I love the Buddhism. Like I see,
they still connect.
right. I
They
see the
still connect.
similarities. I just feel like the African way, it's simpler. Like how they explain things.
For sure.
So yeah, that's just what I do.
Yeah. And I mean, there's always going to be, like I said earlier, that relationship between simplicity and 222. That's my alarm for being gratitude. So let's get into that in just a second. But there's always going to be that relationship between complexity and simplicity, and it's integral to have that relationship. It's integral to keep that relationship as well.
Yeah.
Because when you're learning, you're getting deeper into the complexity of spirituality and all the moving parts, which sometimes can be overwhelming because there's so much to learn. But when you get a certain understanding and a certain grasp, we're back on video. But just like Jesus was saying, is that he has so much knowledge of spirituality, but he's able to put it in terms a baby can understand. That's how the Buddha was too, as well. That was one of the issues that he had, was after doing the 40 days and 40 nights under, what was the name of the tree? But it was under a tree, just meditating in peacefulness and feeling just overwhelming bliss and figuring out the secret to the universe and secret to who he is. He realized that not everybody has the capacity to discard their whole life, disregard their whole family and kids and, their crops and maintaining their whole life. Not everybody has the capacity to live that monkish type of lifestyle.
Right.
So he's like, how can I not only explain this in terms that a baby can understand, but how can I explain it in such that it can still be balanced in a work life? And Hinduism is big on that as well. It's like there's two different paths that you can take. You can take it in by literally deserting everything that you had and going to the mountains and go into monkhood and use that as your vessel for enlightenment. Or you can do it through devotion and learn through devotion and devote yourself through not only improving who you are, but improving the lives of others around you through your creativity, through work, through action, and being a part of the world while still having those elements of being in silence and being secluded, being in solitude as well. So there's so many different ways. That's why we call it the pathless path. Again, like the way that I take to enlightenment is completely different than what you take. And it's pathless because each action I take is the foundation, is the brickwork of making that road to enlightenment. So the road isn't fully paved for me. Nothing is truly already figured out, but at the same time it is.
I was about to say, okay.
At the same time it is. Like fate is still present. You're still creating through that. That's one thing that the Kabbalion talked about, is that determinism is still balanced with a sense of no purpose at all. Like God didn't give me a purpose, but I devote my own sense of determinism to create my own purpose, which creates my own path. That's why it's called the pathless path.
Okay. Do you think we have free will?
Yes. That's why I meant, like, with free will, we have an element of free will to make our own decisions. However, whenever we fully get in tune with who we are, we're driven by determinism.
Okay.
And through determinism, that's when we start to set these non-negotiables. That's when we start to set these boundaries on ourselves and protection, to the point where it's like, yeah, I have the free will to do this, but I'm not going to do it because it doesn't benefit me. It doesn't align with my determinism to follow the truth and follow the path for me to bring out the best in me and others. So like, we still have free will, but whenever we get in tune with who we are and get in tune with our spirituality, now we're driven on determinism to satisfy that part of ourselves, to the point where we don't want to express the full capability of free will.
Okay. Does this make sense whenever I say
No.
it's like I get the free will, but for example, like say if I'm just doing what I'm taught, I'm a child, I'm growing up and I do what I taught, the world is this way, the world is that way type thing. Do you think, but then how do I explain this? Say the juice. I've all my life I've grown up just drinking juice, and I didn't know why I just drunk it. And then one day someone tells me that drinking juice is bad for you. So now I have a decision to continue doing what I've always been doing because I just was. But now that I know that it's bad for me, I have a decision to stop or not. Do you think that is when free will comes? Whenever I know now what this truly is, or was the free will just me doing it? Period.
You've always had the free will. You just never allowed yourself to perceive it. In a way, like before somebody ever told you that juice was bad, you still had the opportunity to go out and learn. You just didn't take the choice to do so. And sometimes we get so lost to the point where we forget we have a choice. And that is when we get into authoritarianism and governments is the illusion of choice. The problem that we have today with these corporations owning most of the products and most of the goods and services is that, yes, I may want to watch this program. I want to watch ESPN, but I don't like watching Disney. But Disney owns ESPN.
Right. Yeah.
So essentially, I'm still watching Disney content.
Right.
It's just called something different.
Name.
So that's the issue that we have now, is that we're starting to make people feel that we don't have a choice anymore, because now we're attached to convenience. We're attached to people doing things for us rather than us going out and creating our own experiences. So we're waiting for handouts rather than making our own decisions. That's the issue that we're going through now, is that we're not taking the chance to make our own decisions. Instead, we want others to do that for us. And we don't have,
but if we're not free will,
right?
For me to say you can make my decisions for me.
Right. That is free will.
All right. Yeah.
That is free will. We're allowing other people to do that for us. We're taking the decision to be like, you know what, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to let somebody write my story for me. So we're always, because every single day, and we don't realize how many decisions we really have. I thought about this yesterday too. It's like the amount of decisions that I have right in front of me every single day is more than I can ever think of, more than I ever can comprehend. Like the amount of time I have to make so many decisions in one day is just insane. But when you're built on determinism, there's only certain decisions that you want to make.
Okay. I think I asked you that because it's just a thought that I have. So I say the free will part is because, like, say before I incarnated in Earth, I say I'm gonna do this when I get to Earth. So whenever I get to Earth, Cyrus thinks that Cyrus made this decision, but I didn't.
I see what you're going with.
So like when I did my numerology numbers, and it said that I would do something in business. It just so happens that I have a degree in business, but that wasn't my original major. It was something else. And then I went to business. So it was like, to me, it's like, okay, I just did business. But when you look at my numbers or my astrology, it's like, no, I was mental. So it's like, was it a free will to where like I chose it, or was it like,
we're getting to a point now where it's like, that's the paradox of life. Like life is nothing but a paradox, because we already decided essentially before we got into this body.
Right.
But at the same time, you got to think of time as well. There's only this moment. Everything's happening all in this moment. And many different versions of ourselves are the decisions. Every decision that we could make is happening in this moment. So the reality where I said no to a certain thing that I actually said yes to is happening right now, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
I got you.
Yeah,
I just wanted to
super,
hear your answer on that.
Yeah, bro. It's super complex. But again, I like to have, you got to maintain that balance of complexity and simplicity. And some things you can't really just put into words. You just have to experience it and do the research and do the studying and do the practices of. But we have reached the record of how long this podcast has gone. This podcast has gone 3 hours. Yeah, and honestly, I'm ready to go play basketball.
Yeah, I want to ask you with your 222 timer thing, but we can.
Oh, yeah. Before we end it. So 222, that was 10 minutes ago? Dang. Oh, my God. So 222, again, that's your my numbers, number.
Yeah.
Are you here? You want to hop in at a podcast on accountability tonight? Okay, what time?
Yeah, because I keep saying 222. I see a lot of 222s and 5s and 4s.
Yeah. So 222, obviously with that being my number, I use that as a reminder to stay gratitude. So I have an alarm that goes off at 222. Sometimes I'm reminded, I say my gratitude. I say what I'm grateful for. I give my prayers out to the world. I give my blessings out to the world. Sometimes I forget, but sometime later on the day, I make sure that I make up for it. Right. But since we're here, I will say that I'm grateful that you came into the space today, that you sacrificed your time to come in to talk about some very important things, talk about who you are, your business, promote the juices, promote the seamoss. Also a chance to learn as well. And I'm glad that you gave me the opportunity to, to speak with you too as well.
I appreciate it.
That you took the time to come here. You didn't have to do that, but you did it anyway. Same thing that you did for Malachi as well. I'm grateful that you gave Malachi the space and the time to talk with him. But I'm just grateful that I'm alive. I'm grateful that I'm healthy. I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to play basketball today. I have the opportunity to do a podcast, to talk about spirituality, talk about music, to talk about health and how health is wealth. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for God. I'm grateful for the opportunity and the capacity to learn and consciousness. So namaste.
Give thanks. May I say what I'm grateful for?
Of course.
All right. I also give thanks for this opportunity. It was great meeting you, great having this conversation. I'm at a point in my life to where I know that certain things happen for a reason. So I know that we were meant to meet and speak and have this conversation. So I definitely give thanks for our interactions and any others to come after this. I give thanks for rising today. I give thanks for the journey. I give thanks that I want to be better. I know sometimes it can, like I said, you can go through it sometimes, but the end goal or the journey is really the biggest part. So I give thanks for my family. I give thanks for health. I give thanks for my juices, because not only am I nourishing myself, but I'm nourishing other people or helping them to nourish themselves. And I give thanks for my grandpa for putting me on this path, because if not, I don't know what I would be doing right now. So
God bless. God bless
for life.
One thing I will say before I go into the outro is that the want to be better is not the same as the act to be better. So,
okay, bars.
Okay, I had to get that off my chest, but
I appreciate that.
Hey, y'all, we made it 3 hours and 12 minutes as of now. That is a record. That is a blessing. I'm glad that we were able to talk for so long and keep it going, and talk about things that help us grow and help us learn, and also, have fun at the end of the day. But Mine is Mine is a vessel. And it's also an opportunity to bring people together and help raise and transcend human consciousness through different levels of truth, through different levels of spirituality and culture. It is meant to bring people together to learn the benefits of mysticism, the benefits of truth that can be found in so many different levels of life, so many different ways of life, and give people the opportunity to walk the pathless path and find what resonates most with them and create their own path while walking that path. And, at the end of the day, the objective is to return home, is to be enlightened. And however we get there, that's up to us. But I constantly want to remind people that your path is your path, in spirituality, whether if you're conscious of it or not, is always an integral part of life and is always following us. So just want to keep that in mind. Praise God for Mine is Mine. Praise God for its growth. I know it's going to continue to grow with each podcast, with each listen, with each post, with each day I put the energy into it. So it's all for the new earth. It's all for the next generation. It's all for elevation of consciousness in the present moment and going forward. So how can we reach you, my man?
Instagram is CY_juice. That's my personal. And then for the actual juices or my company, it would be 3PK, spelled 3THR and 3 3s and then PK. And then also on YouTube, it would be 3 Pillar Conscious, spelled 3 the same ways and just consciousness with a K.
Any closing words at all? Anything that you would like to say?
I'm ready to hoop.
We ready
after
to hoop.
this great conversation.
We are ready to bust ass, ladies and gentlemen.
It's been a great day, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate you coming out, man.
Thanks.
Love and blessings to you. Let's see where this podcast goes from here. Let's see where the energy takes us. Learned a lot of great things from you.
You as well. I want to learn more too.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very blessed that Malachi got us connected, and this summer is about to be big for all three of us. So other than that, I hope everybody has a great rest of your day. And until next time, peace.
Bless.
Hey, thank you for staying after the YouTube video. Be sure to like, comment. It's important to share your voice and subscribe to my channel. There should be a video on the screen. If not, then there's something wrong. But follow me on social media, Instagram, X, whatever it may be. Also, check out my blog in the description box below. Other than that, my name is Houston. I hope you have a great day. Namaste.